All right, welcome to the Krueg Show. We're here at Levi's after the 49ers beat the Seattle Seahawks for the second time in 3 weeks. We're firing up the band. All right, a little louder than that. Let me switch. Oh, no. There we go. Niners win. Big win for the 49ers. And welcome to the Krueg Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And thanks to all the good people at Pig and a Pickle for being the proud sponsors of the Krueg Show. And also thanks to New York Style Italian sausage. The only kind of Italian sausage I eat is New York style Italian sausage. And the 49ers get a big win today in week 14 over the Seattle Seahawks, 28-16, the final. What I loved about this one, guys, was just, and welcome to the Krueg Show. Myself, of course, Kev Krueger, who's home from school. Good to see you in his home studio. We got the great Ryan Smith and OG on the Krueg Show. We've got Dan Coach Emilio right there, who's in parts unknown. Dan's at a hotel. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah. Work down in Tucson.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
See the suitcase in the background there?
Look at that. I don't see your wife anywhere nearby.
Yeah, she's at home. She's at home.
Oh, of course she is. Yeah. Dan is on the road. He's a single man on the road. Look at that. No baller today, but man, the Niners get a big win. The reason I think this one is such a big win, 12-point win. It wasn't perfect. There were some sloppy moments, and it wasn't the Niners' greatest effort, but man, you got a Seahawk team that was rested, motivated, really whose season is on the brink of disaster. They were 6-6 coming in. They were desperate. And they had a couple more days of rest. They kind of had the mini bye, and because they had played on the previous Thursday against Dallas, and they came in here and they had a little bit more hop in their step, and they went with Drew Lock instead of Geno Smith. And man, I thought they played a better game. I thought they played more energetic. They were desperate to win, and yet the 49ers find a way to get a 12-point win. Purdy threw for well over 300 yards. Debo was huge. Ayuk was huge. Christian McCaffrey had a big day. The 49ers ran for over 7 yards a carry. I think McCaffrey himself ran for like 9 yards a carry. You had no Eric Armstead. The defensive line still, I was talking to Chase Young in the locker room afterwards, and I was talking to him about how the Niners, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but they went with the all pass rusher D-line with Bosa on one end, Randy Gregory on the other end, Chase Young and Hargrave inside. And, Chase was saying that, it's like every single time they went with that, either somebody almost got home and put a lot of pressure on the quarterback or did get home. Jair Brown, talked to him in the locker room. What a game Jair Brown had. My goodness. And I asked Shanahan about it. I go, this guy's doing it against the run. He's doing it against the pass. He just gets better and better and better. Very, very impressive win, all things considered. And the 49ers, roll into Arizona next week with 10 wins. Huge win. Niners go to 10-3. They've only lost once at home all year. Seahawks fall to 6-7. And the other thing I love about this win is it now drives Seattle into like super desperation mode next week when they host the Eagles. And we'll see if the Eagles get it done tonight against the Cowboys or not. So a lot to talk about. Let's throw it around the room. We'll start with Kev and we'll move around clockwise there. Kev, what'd you think of the win?
I mean, there's so many things to talk about offensively. I thought offensively they played an amazing game. If you look, I think they ran for 7.5 a carry as a team. McCaffrey ran for 9. They passed for over 13 yards per attempt. It's just the big plays, and that first play of the game was an amazing play. It just started right there. The blocking from Trent Williams on the left side. CMC ran left, I feel like, at least 75% of the time, and they just love running off the back of Trent Williams because he just seals off that edge and get good gains. So, I mean, that's really all it was. 28 points, but big plays.
A lot of big plays. And, I was mentioning to somebody I was talking to Greg Papa a minute ago up here in the press box. And I was just saying how, oftentimes in football, if the running back has a huge day, the receiver doesn't. Or if the receiver has a big 100-yard day, maybe the running back doesn't. But look at the numbers tonight. Debo had 7 catches, 149 yards, and a touchdown. He is absolutely coming into his own right now as having the best year of his career. Brandon Ayuk had 6 catches for 126 yards. His lone mistake was when he was carrying the ball like a loaf of bread, and it got popped out from behind. Kittle had 3 catches for 76 yards. He got in the end zone. And then in the midst of all those receivers, doing that, and obviously Brock Purdy had a big day, completed 70% of his passes, 368 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. I thought Brock made a couple of just absolutely amazing plays where he broke contain. Thank you, sir. And I'm thanking people who are bringing me quotes from the locker room. But I mean, Brock, I thought, had some subtle movements in the pocket to create more time, and then just made some incredible throws. And then Christian McCaffrey, 16 carries for 145 yards. And he was feeling good afterwards, and good effort on offense, good effort on defense. It's not easy to win in the NFL. It's also really not easy to do what everybody expects you to do, right? The Niners were favored by, weren't they favored by 12?
Touchdown Dallas.
Touchdown Dallas.
Way to ruin it, Dan.
Oh,
CD.
flag.
Who do you guys like in that game tonight, by the way? I like Philly. You like Dallas?
I think at 3.5, you got to take Philly.
Yeah, I like Philly in those points.
But if it's going to get out of control, it's going to be a Dallas win. Philly's not going to blow Dallas out. Dallas might blow Philly out, but if it's close, I feel like Dak's going to shit down his leg.
I think I agree. I think Dak is the most statistically, he's a statistic monster, but I just really believe that Dallas is a bully team. They bully bad teams, and then they get bullied by good teams, and the Eagles are a good team. The Niners bully him. I think Philly will bully him. But Danny,
for the Niners spread, just real quick, the Niners opened as -4 and they finished -15. Closing
-15. Wow.
Yeah, it was like 12 on Sunday, and then it went down to 10.5 because people, I think, realized, okay, maybe that's a little crazy. And then with the Geno news, it ballooned up to 14, and then Kev's right. I think it got to 15 by the kickoff.
Danny, what'd you think of the win? Then we'll get Rye's thoughts.
Great win. And I'm about to make a bold statement. You're going to hear it here first. Everybody says,
wait. Should we sit down? All right. We are sitting down.
Yeah. Everybody says that Brock Purdy's something else, but he isn't Joe Montana.
You're going to say he's better than Joe?
At this point in his career, absolutely. Absolutely. I watched Joe in 79 and 80. He had a breakout year in 81, but he still had a lot of picks. Brock Purdy, after today's performance,
is better than Joe.
Those long balls that he put on the money to Debo, to Ayuk, and Kittle, I'm telling you, these balls are over 40 yards. One of them was 48 yards in the air. The ball.
Jay says, "Stop it, Dan."
I'm not stopping it.
CJ Gray, look at the LOL with all kinds of faces and emojis.
I love it. I'm telling you, at this point,
Chris says Dan is high.
At this point in their careers, I'm not saying he's going to have the career Joe Montana had. Okay, I'm saying
at the same point in his career,
he's better. He's better.
But Joe didn't even play that much in 79 and 80.
Not much, but he's 13-3 in 81. I got it. I got his stats right here.
Look at this. Wait a second. John here. John in the chat. John Smokin says Dan is correct.
In 1981, Joe Montana had averaged 222 yards a game, had a rating of 88.4. He had how many touchdowns did he have? He had 19 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. How many does Purdy have right now? 30 something?
Okay, the game's completely changed though.
Yeah,
I get it. I get it, but his completion percentage is much higher. It's near 70. Joe's
Dan, I'm going to help you with this take because what you're doing right now is you're pitting yourself against the fan base.
Look at Stewart. Stewart's like, get him off.
Purdy.
Get him off.
Yeah, you're pinning yourself against the fan base that also wants to support Purdy. So what you really should be saying, I'd love to hear you come back maybe next week with this take, or maybe do it as the stream's going. I think Purdy at this point in his career might be a little bit better than Patrick Mahomes was at this point in his career. In terms of, if we're talking just straight up stats, I'm just eerily similar.
Yeah,
Danny's got a point because Joe didn't get it going until 81. He was a 79 draft choice, and he didn't. Now he did go 13-3 and win the Super Bowl.
And Purdy's going to go
in 81.
Purdy's going to one up that and go 14-3 and win a Super Bowl this year.
I had somebody else send me a note the other day saying that because I had said that Purdy is the best 49er quarterback since Steve Young. And the guy said, you know what, Krug, I rarely disagree with you, but he's the best 49er quarterback since Joe. So he says he's better than Steve Young.
Than Steve.
All right, that's
I mean,
it's all a projection.
And his defense was Steve wasn't Steve and didn't become a great NFL quarterback till he was with the Niners, and that was not till age 31 that he really busted out. So if you want to, I understand Danny's point. Danny's just saying at this same stage, he is better than Joe at this same stage.
Yep. I'm not saying he's going to have the career Joe did.
It's a very unpopular take.
Yep.
It's, but Danny's a very unpopular guy.
That's right.
And he's a man who's, this is what happens when you go to a hotel by yourself and you've got your side chick in the side room waiting for the show to end. You just say
crazy shit. You just say crazy shit.
You say crazy shit and you're like, hey, baby, I'm going to be in there in a minute for you. I love you. Be ready for me. I'm going to deliver the goods on the show and off the show.
Let me just say this.
No,
I like to make controversial statements. I like controversial statements, and I want to get something going.
You do. You want to. You stir it up.
I'm a little. I watched the guy throw perfect strikes and he had to move out of the pocket and he made it happen. They don't even have a good offensive line, and he's doing this.
Oh, I know. And be careful when you say that, because I did talk to Aaron Banks today, and Aaron Banks said to say hi to you, Rye, and Banks he's got a little kid now. His little kid's 1. I said, Aaron, are you going to be Santa this year for Christmas? He's like, no, but Aaron's battling the turf toe and everything, but he's playing good ball. I thought the Purdy play, I'm trying to remember which one it was. Which was the one where he stepped to his left and then went way down the field?
That was to Ayuk, 45 yards down the field.
Who did that remind you of? That reminded me of Montana. I'm telling you, it did. I saw it and I go, man, this kid.
Where was that play, by the way? I'm trying to remember where that was.
That was on the 8th drive. It was the 8th drive of the game.
The Niners' 8th drive?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Before I forget, Kev, make sure you make a short out of that.
Yeah, there you go. It was the first. You're right. It was the first play of the 8 drive. It was 1st and 10 on the 25. At this point, you've got the 49ers were up 14-10. It was their second drive of the third quarter, and he moves to his left in the pocket, and he throws down the field for Ayuk down to the 30-yard line. It was the first play. They went from their own 25 to the Seattle 30 on one play. That was awesome. Yeah.
Great pocket awareness. Sorry. I was saying great pocket awareness. And then later on that drive, there was a play where I think it was Jamal Adams wasn't blocked off the edge, and then he quickly adjusts and throws to Warner for a 5-yard gain. And I was sitting there going like, that's a play that Jimmy doesn't make. Like those are the plays that Jimmy doesn't make. Jimmy doesn't adjust to the pressure like Purdy can adjust to the pressure and make the plays and drive the ball down the field.
Rye, what did you think of the win?
I mean, the main takeaway for me in this game was it was the Purdy stuff. Like my brain is like gone full like national media homer. Like I'm just thinking of different MVP arguments for Purdy and, anticipating what like Nick Wright's going to be putting up on First Things First or whatever. I thought that was just a sick game by Purdy. I mean, I guess at the end, he did set his career high for passing yards. So I guess that's notable.
This is the most 368.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's notable. But I felt like even at the beginning of the game, he had the pick early. That was clearly a miscommunication with him and Ayuk. And you saw Shanahan kind of like giving it to Ayuk. So I don't really think that was on him. But by like halftime, a little bit into the third quarter, his stats weren't crazy. And I was like, damn, you know what? Purdy's playing a great game right now. Like everyone that's watching this game realizes, like Kev was saying, all the little stuff. He was just playing a great game. And it got a little scary just in terms of like, I think when this, after the Niners, they threw that huge uppercut to start the game. The fact that Seattle kind of like came back down, scored a touchdown. They seemed pretty locked in. I was like, oh no, are we about to have like a total let up spot? Is this going to be like after the Dallas game type situation? And the Niners, it just with Charvarius Ward going out and the Seattle guy Witherspoon, like the top corners being out for both teams, it kind of turned it into a fun down the field game. And you're just not really used to seeing that in like the 49ers, the Shanahan 49ers teams. So it was just sick. I thought it was cool that Bosa got a sack.
I'll tell you, you mentioned down
whoa.
about
I got ahead of myself. I like to make a comment about Mitch Wishnowsky every week because the guy is just absolutely nails. And I've been saying this since they drafted him because I remember like somebody tweeted out like some highlights of him like running fake punts at Utah, and the guy ran a 4.63.
Supposedly Shanahan joked he was running 24 miles an hour.
Yeah, like he looked like Kaepernick in like the playoff games. Like the guy actually has like legitimate 4.6 speed, and he's a big guy. I thought for the longest time that like we were gonna get a bunch of those Wishnowsky fakes, and I kept like telling myself, you know what, it's coming this game. And then the first time I met Mitch when I was in Santa Barbara, and I got a chance to hang out with him, he was telling me, because I was asking him, I was like, dude, like you got to tell me, like why. Like, have you called your number at all? Like, told Shanahan, like, you got to let me like have some of these fakes. Like, you got to let me show the wheels. And he told me like he was just so crazy nervous all year, and like all he could focus on was like not dropping the ball and all that stuff. And then when we talked to him in the locker room last year, I kind of brought it up again, and he's like, it seems like he's just very locked in on it. He's like, I just got to do my job. But it was just a freak thing where he got to show it there, and I hope Shanahan like uses that at some point. Like seriously.
By the way,
good day,
breaking news. JJ in the chat says breaking news. They just threw a flag on Lane Johnson for a false start.
No way.
Oh, for
Lane Johnson, ladies and gentlemen,
like,
just got a false start.
And
nobody thought it would be possible. It is possible.
Yeah, and the Eagles have 6 men in the backfield all the time because their 2 tackles are like 2 yards back.
Yeah.
They form up.
Dude, how about the balls on Mitch to run that ball? If that wasn't a call, if that wasn't a designed fake punt, like he just went for it, I guess, right?
Kyle said he didn't call it.
So
By the way, that was the first fake punt in the Kyle Shanahan era. He's been here since 2017. That was the very first
Does
fake
it count,
punt.
though? It got called back.
No, it didn't. It got called back.
Yeah.
I was saying, Mitten, you don't want to really take people off guard. Try it again. Try it again after the offsetting penalties. But yeah, that, it's funny. I did an interview with Mitch Wishnowsky this week, or it might've been last week. And in the interview, I asked him some question. He's like, well, mate, I really don't know anything about football.
Yeah, I heard that. That was crazy.
I mean, That's awesome, man. When you can be a professional football player and admit that you know nothing about football. I mean, that's just epic. But yeah, no, I mean, this was a really good all around performance when you think about, you know, you had no Armstead, you had no sacks at halftime, and yet they got 4 in the second half. They got, the Niners averaged over 7 yards a carry. And I don't know, what do you guys think of Drew Lock? I thought Drew Lock looked good in this game.
Played well.
Yeah. Drew Lock's got a hose. He can really throw.
How about that first touchdown to DK? I mean, DK, he had a bad game. He had a touchdown that looked great. That was a great throw by Drew Lock. Good catch. Good coverage by Embry on that play. But, I mean, dude, that guy was getting bitched, and he just starts throwing hand. I thought that was such a lame – DK's kind of a lame – he's an emotional – like, I don't know. I don't know. What's your guys' opinion on him? I think it was kind of soft of him.
Well, I talked to Greenlaw about that. I'm like, what'd you think of the fight? He's like, man, I didn't see it. But he's like, at the end of games, and there's a lot of emotion. And when you beat a team twice in 3 weeks, and you know what I mean? He's like, and all of a sudden the game's over. It's like, and I said to him, I go, yeah, when there's no more plays to make, sometimes you just got to start throwing hands. And he's like, kind of like, yeah, it's like, these teams don't like each other very much. And this is what happens when, you play a team twice in 3 weeks. It gets super personal.
Kind of like when they do 6-game series in minor league baseball, AAA. It's always fights, and about the 5th game, they're tired of each other.
We're seeing it in basketball this year. It seems like the Warriors. There's like 4 teams that the Warriors play. It's like the Thunder and the Suns,
OKC,
OKC, Kings.
Yeah. Hey, you mentioned Ryan being a little bit down, possibly like let down. The game that's a trap game is the upcoming game. Arizona's coming off a bye, and then you had the sandwich of Seattle games, and then you got Baltimore after Arizona. Arizona's going to be rested. They're coming off a big win against Pittsburgh. Niners better not take that game lightly.
Yeah, man, no question. I mean, here's the bottom line on this is that, a lot of this, I think, is going to fall on the shoulders of Brock Purdy too. It's like, how well can he take care of the football? What I thought the ball that he got picked looked like it was tipped from Ayuk, but it wasn't, was it?
It was. He touched it, I think.
He did touch it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he touched it. Yeah, he touched it. He got his hand on it. Okay, because
I said he tipped it, and the guys up in the press box, they're like, no, he didn't touch it. It was just he missed through it.
No,
it was weird. It was like Ayuk paused there, too. It was like, why did Ayuk pause?
He stopped his route.
Yeah, he stopped his route and then tipped it. It was weird.
That's why Ayuk was on the sideline. He was upset with himself. He knew he messed up the route.
It seemed like there was a miscommunication on how the route was supposed to be ran. And I initially thought it was Purdy's fault, but then when we came back from the commercial break, they were showing Kyle talking to Ayuk, which I feel like that's kind of I'm not sure, did anyone ask him that? I don't think anyone asked him that question in the presser, but just from that dialogue, it made me think that Ayuk messed up, but I saw Rich Madrid was trying to say that it was the other way around on Twitter, so I'm not sure.
Well, of course, he knows all because he's angry in Spokane. And he watches the film from his couch. Isaiah Oliver got an opportunity to play in this game, and I thought Oliver played well. What do you guys think of Oliver tonight or to this afternoon?
It was a little worrisome early, but he ended up. I thought he played well.
Yeah.
There was an initial. Sorry, I was gonna say there's an initial play that he gave up on an out route that led to a first down, which then led to the DK touchdown, and I was like, oh shit, is this going to be one of those games where they pick on Oliver? But after that play, I didn't see him getting picked on anymore. So decent game from him.
By the way, in this Eagle Cowboy game, who's not there on the sidelines is Big Dom. They didn't let Big Dom go he's in Dallas, and I guess he does the rest of whatever his duties are. I'd love to see a list of Big Dom's duties other than, hitting, grabbing Dre Greenlaw. But supposedly, they're not going to let him stand on the sidelines anymore, or at least not in this game for 1 week. I don't know if we'll get any update on exactly. Thank you, sir. I don't know if we'll get an update on exactly, what they're going to do, but I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I don't want to see him get penalized. too much, though. I would like to see almost not all non-essential personnel just taken off the field altogether. We do have this super we should put up there. And it says, go ahead. Somebody else read that. My computer. So kind of, Kev, can you read the super?
Yeah, it says the only thing stopping the Niners from a 6th ring looks to be injury. Oh, you put it away.
Oh, go ahead.
I think some of these dinged up players need to be held out for easy games. A couple of key injuries could derail this team.
Like who? Who would you want to see sat out?
There's no easy games in the National Football League. I mean, you can't.
I mean that is the thing. I know what the guy's saying, because it's like, you know, the last thing you'd want to do is lose key guys down the stretch. But I mean, you see how hard it is to win. I mean, Seattle has not been going good. Their defense has just been a sieve. They didn't have their starting quarterback. You know, they got Abraham Lucas back today on the offensive line, but they're not going good. They've lost 3 in a row, and it took everything in the Niners' power to win the game. I mean, it wasn't super close, but it was in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, they're practically going to have to win out to get the 1 seed. So
I'll tell you the
say
perfect
that they can just
scenario.
lose games.
Perfect scenario is that the Cowboys win tonight, and then next week the Bills beat the Cowboys, and the Seahawks, in desperation for their playoff lives, beat the Eagles, and they have their own 3-game losing streak. Then the Niners can afford to lose one. Well, not ideally they win through Baltimore, and then they rest their guys against the Rams, because that Rams are going to be playing for the playoffs in that last game, and that's not going to be an easy game.
I know. The Rams look so good today. I that was shocking to me. The Ravens, I think Lamar Jackson, he's now 19-1 against the NFC. Like, they just absolutely pummel NFC teams. That I can't really tell. Like, they were off a bye. Is Andrews like really that important to this team? But I mean, the Rams look legit. Their defense even looks kind of good.
Rams are good. Well, since Kyron Williams came back, and with the health of Puka and Kupp and Stafford back in there, the Rams, I think, are maybe the 4th best team in the NFC behind, the Niners. I got them ahead of Detroit right now.
I mean, think about like all the crappy quarterbacks out there right now. Like, the fact that they have Matt Stafford is like, it's just such a huge advantage.
Yeah, I mean, telling you, the Rams are good, and they're gearing up. They're kind of like, a team similar to the Niners when they rebuilt and just getting their guys. I mean, Kyron Williams might be the best all-around back right now in the league, and then they've got Puka and Kupp and and their defense is starting to play better. They played Baltimore in Baltimore, and it looked like crappy weather, and put 31 on them. Jeez.
Go ahead. We got another super there. I'm having a hard time reading my screen tonight. It's so dark in here.
It says Ward is dealing with injuries. Armstead, Trent, you shouldn't need either of those 3 to beat Cardinals or Washington.
Yeah, I mean, you got guys that can fill in and do the job. I mean, Armstead, he's got that plantar fasciitis. That's something that you want to get that thing well, because my guess is Armstead stays out until at least the Baltimore game. And
they said Armstead's not going to play this week or next week.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, that stuff is tough. It comes back easily. Didn't he deal with it last year too, right?
What's that?
The plantar fasciitis. He dealt with it for like 4 games or something, 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of those things that just, it's a hard injury to get to go away. David Muschek says, Krug, congrats on 30K, moving up to the big time. Wheezy, get my coat.
Moving on up.
Wheezy.
George Jefferson, man.
That's right.
Come on. I know.
Moving on up to a big sky apartment, or a big east side apartment in the Sky Eye.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the Sky Eye. Kev's like, what the hell are you talking about? Even Rye's kind of looking at us like, what are you talking about?
Another world, man.
The Jeffersons. It was a hell of a
happens
show.
a lot. I just nod. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
I saw a great one. That'll remind me. I'll send Rye one of George Sanford that was hilarious the other day. Unplayable today on the.
Yeah, we should probably thank everybody. Over the weekend, we got to 30. Yesterday, we got to 30,000 subs on the Krueg show. 30,000 subs, and we went from like 29,000 to 30,000 in like 3 days or 4 days or something, wasn't it? It was some ridiculous amount of time. So. What you Kev, you were telling me yesterday, what did we get for subs just yesterday?
There's like over 200 or something.
Yeah, I think you're going to hit, Larry. I think you might hit 35,000 before New Year's.
Yeah, it was a deluxe apartment in the Sky Eye. Yeah.
What are you talking
about? Right now we were talking about this. In the press box in the fourth quarter, look at the way the NFL looks right now. Look at just the landscape. Philly looks like they're kind of limping towards the finish line. Dallas looks like they're surging, but Dallas also is kind of a fraud. Like, I don't think there's too many Niner fans walking around going, uh-oh, what about Dallas, right? Then you got Kansas City that lost again today, and they lost at home to Buffalo. They've got no receivers. They're not playing well. Buffalo is not necessarily playing well. Baltimore is supposed to have this great defense, but they just gave up, what did they say, 31 at home to the Rams? They were life and death to beat the Rams at home. I mean, I'm getting the feeling like this might be the Niners' best chance at that sixth ring. And the debate we were having is, if the season ended right now, who do you think who would you guys predict would be the Super Bowl matchup? I was saying, I think I'm going to go with the Niners and the Dolphins.
That's me too.
Just because the Dolphins didn't play, I feel the same way. Like they've gone up because I didn't watch them crap the bed today.
Right. But what do you guys think if you had to say, your Super Bowl matchup here in almost sort of mid-December? What are you going with?
Well, that was a really good pick, Larry. I think I'm going to double down with you.
Who is that?
Doubling down with Miami and the Niners.
Who are you imitating?
Lee Hacksaw Hamilton.
Oh no, that's not Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Excellent topic, my friend. I'm glad you brought it up. Touchdown, Marion Butts.
Marion
Butts. I'm Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, and welcome to the mighty 690. Southern California's sports leader.
Yeah.
I love Hacksaw. Hacksaw was great.
We're going to turn it over to Chet 40. I used to listen to that in college.
Let's get to Danny, who's in Chula Vista. Danny, go.
Go.
Wait a second. We're going to pull out of the hopper. He used to have the most random shit, right? You would have loved this thing back. Wait a second, let's go to the hopper. Yes, I have it right now, first-hand authority that the Cowboys are going to hire a new special teams coach. Get it out of the hopper.
I listen to him every day. The big handlebar mustache. Oh,
the mighty 690. Nicotina says, Larry, please do a Trent Baalke impersonation.
Oh.
Lowry, I'm telling you, people listen to my voice and they think this is a guy who smoked a lot of cigarettes. But you know what, Lowry? Brock Purdy is a hell of a player. And you know who's a really underrated executive? I'll tell you right now who's an underrated GM. It's that Farhan Zaidi for the Giants. That guy can sign guys coming off injury the way I used to do it here with the Niners. I mean, he'll go get a Dalton Jeffries. He'll go deep and find a guy who just had Tommy John.
Jeez.
I'll tell you, Lowry.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Digital Drew says, "Damn it, Trent! No more all ACL team." Yeah, there you go. No, but a great win for the Niners for sure. And yeah, I'll tell you, you know who on the Seattle side, what a ball game for Julian Love. My God. I think he led them in tackles with 7. He had a pick. He had the forced fumble on Ayuk. I mean, that guy was freaking everywhere. Every time I looked up, I was like, Julian Love? Guy played incredible.
Oh my!
Jason Wade just says the Niners signed Jason Verrett. Is that true? Kev,
Yeah.
you want to look that up?
It's true. I saw.
Wait, the
Oh, it is
Cowboys
true.
kicker is like the
When did that happen?
Matt Mayoko said so. Let's see. Pull it up.
Oh, okay. Well, you wonder about Mooney Ward then. Just when did this happen? Just in the last since the game ended?
Yeah, like right when the game ended, per Matt Mayoko.
I wonder, does that mean Mooney Ward's groin injury is more severe than they think?
Yeah, Jason Verrett has agreed to sign with the 49ers practice squad per Matt Mayoko, NBC.
Interesting. Jason Verrett's had the torn ACL. He's had a ruptured Achilles. He's always had great elite feet, so that's what makes him an outstanding cover corner.
Maybe they're going to put Ward on IR for 4 games.
I feel like he knows how to like he's had that recurring groin injury. Like he knows how to work through it.
It's usually a 2-week thing. Usually a 2-week thing to get it well.
Wait, we got to talk about this Cowboys kicker because Brandon Aubrey,
he hasn't missed yet.
He hasn't missed yet, and he just kicked that. Like, is this guy like the LeBron? Like he's like the LeBron James of kickers. Like this is insane. He just made that 60-yarder. It would have been good from 70.
Oh, was that a
right
60?
down the middle?
I
that was a 60-yarder.
Jeez.
I know.
I just looked up and saw it going through. I didn't realize it was 60 yards.
It actually made me think, we have not seen a field goal from the Niners in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're not kicking field goals.
Wow. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Are we missing? Are the Niners not kicking field goals for a reason?
No, I just don't think they've had a chance to really kick one.
Yeah, they don't need to.
Yeah, I mean,
score.
Yeah.
Great win though for the 49ers. And let's see. Do we get all these in here? We didn't get this one yet. Did we get this one? Daza?
Yes.
Yeah.
We did get that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, guys, I mean, what do you think? I mean, I'm going Niners Dolphins. Danny's going Niners Dolphins. Kev, what are you going with?
I mean, yeah, I'm going Niners for sure. The NFC looks weaker and weaker each week. I mean, the Cowboys are the biggest competition in the NFC, and the Niners killed them 5 weeks ago or week 5. In the AFC, I think it's the Ravens. I don't know. Dolphins or Ravens for sure. I know the Ravens just played a bad game, but they can show up. I still think that, like with the Lions, I knew that they were just a fake team. They're not a real team. I think they lost today, right? So
they lost to the Bears.
Yep.
So Ravens, I think the Ravens could still show up and play a good game. I really do. So I think
the Bills. Don't give up on the Bills either. I'm telling you, I like the Bills.
I like the Bills. The Bills next week too. They're going to beat the Cowboys.
I think the Bills are. They lost.
What would make the most entertaining Super Bowl?
I mean, Dolphins,
Miami, Niners would be like a speed, be like just a track meet.
There just would be so much.
I want to make a point before Rye. Let Rye finish his pick, and I want to make a point. I want to go back to something that I wanted to bring up about Mahomes. Go ahead, Rye. Who's your pick?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, it's such a cop-out thing to say. Yeah, I like it. He's got
calling shots
Paul out here.
Yeah. I want Rye to do something, but first I'm going to do something. Then Kev's going to talk.
Yeah. I like it. Let's put Rye in the center court here.
Let me just get the shell game going. Okay.
I think I still honestly would be the most scared of the Chiefs. There's something about Spags and big games that just scares the hell out of me. Spags and Chris Jones, and I know that the Chiefs are. It does look. They remind me almost of this year's Warriors team. Like they've got an old Travis Kelce, and that's about it. That's about it. You know, and they got a reliable, I guess, defense just with Spags, but. I don't know. I think I would have to say Chiefs until I see somebody else. However, I mean, if Miami has like a really good home field, if they get the 1 seed, I could see them, you know, going all the way to the Super Bowl. Same thing with the Ravens. Jaguars, no, thank you.
No. This is what I want to say
Go
about
ahead, Dan. Go
this
ahead.
thing. We've been hearing the talk, national media, even local. Well, Purdy's got all the weapons. That's why he's doing so well. Well, how about Mahomes with Tyreek Hill when he had Hill and he had
his first year he had Kareem,
Travis Kelce,
Hardman,
McCole Hardman, Juju Smith-Schuster, right?
all the speed. Now he doesn't have receivers. Now look at him. Every quarterback. Kurt Warner with the greatest show on turf. Come on, people. If a guy's got stars, he's still got to get it to him. But if he doesn't have stars, it makes it a lot tougher because they don't get open and they don't run great routes. And the Chiefs have no receivers now, and Mahomes is looking kind of average. I even heard a fantasy football show the other day say, I don't think you can make Patrick Mahomes a QB1 starter on your fantasy team.
Well, okay, you know, maybe what it might be time for, it might be time for a real discussion on where Brock Purdy actually ranks in the NFL. Is he, you know, I've thrown out that I think the guy is, you know, a top 10 quarterback, and I got a lot of pushback. Now I would say that there'll probably be more people that would be willing to make him a top 10 quarterback. He's got really good numbers. Yes, he's got good receivers. Yes, he has Shanahan. Yes, he has a good defense. But Danny's point is a solid point, which is, you know, I mean, you know, Joe Montana had Jerry Rice, you know, at the end there. Steve Young had Jerry Rice. You know, I mean, it's like I don't know that we can. I mean, Tom Brady got it done, but even Tom Brady had Randy Moss, he had Julian Edelman, he had Gronk, he had Deion Branch.
How did Tom look last year when he didn't have the weapons?
Well, he had Mike.
He was also 45 years old.
Yeah, he was 45.
I think Brady might be the only exception to this, because I agree with you, Danny. Mahomes looks like a different quarterback this year, and I think if you were to isolate him, put him in a vacuum, you would have national media people saying, "Oh, this guy Mahomes isn't that good," but it's because of precedent that like people are giving him more slack, in my opinion. Because
if you want to get a little more. If you want to get a little more blasphemous, even, because I mean, obviously, I still think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, but there is something to winning a Super Bowl. Once you get that monkey off your back, it's just such a different ball game. Like you see it in the NBA all the time. Guys come back and they're way better because you just have that next level of confidence. The NFL, it's the same thing happened with Mahomes. Like if you remember, like, he was pretty shaky in some of those big games there for a while. And kind of, you know, played poorly in Super Bowls. Then of course they beat the Niners, and then from then on it's all good. I think if he didn't have a Super Bowl, or let's say he didn't have the Super Bowl, let's say he like started with these receivers, like I don't think he would be nearly the player that we think of now. Because I think also everyone thought of Tyreek Hill as like, well, yeah, I mean he's great, but like Mahomes kind of makes him, you know. But it's like now we're realizing, okay, no, Tyreek Hill's probably the best receiver of my lifetime. Like the most freaky, like field tilting dude. Also, another one that you didn't mention, Dan, is that people also love to say, oh, and he's got Shanahan. Shanahan just makes it so easy. Yeah. How about Andy Reid? Like, I don't know, the greatest offensive coach of all time, something like that.
Bill Walsh.
Okay. Well, I mean, really, we had this debate with Walsh and Montana. Did Montana make Walsh? Did Walsh make Montana? But let's just go right down the list. How many quarterbacks? I'll go down the list. You guys say.
I'm not saying.
You guys say if this guy's better or not.
For that, because
okay, is Tua better than Brock?
No.
Nope.
What do you guys know?
No.
I'd say no.
Tua is
I'll
not.
take Brock.
He's worse. Is Josh Allen better than Brock?
Yes.
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 Is Aaron Rodgers better than Brock?
Not right
Yeah,
now.
but
No.
I mean, yeah, I'd
Not
say
playing.
yes.
Not in
if-
2023.
Yeah,
He doesn't have
I
an
don't know what
Achilles.
I don't know what he. I'm going to take Brock over a 40-year-old guy coming off an Achilles when he comes back.
Is Mac Jones better than Brock?
No.
No.
Oh gosh,
No. Is Lamar Jackson better than Brock?
Yes. Yes.
He's just
Danny
a
said
tough
no.
one.
Kev said yes.
I guess
Different
I would.
type. different.
I'll put it this way:
Lamar Jackson's record in the playoffs is not very good.
Brock Purdy would runs the Shanahan offense better than Lamar Jackson could.
That's
I would
But
agree with that.
Lamar's the better player.
Yes.
more talented. Yeah,
I'll say
Lamar
Lamar's
won
better.
an MVP.
Yeah.
he's more
And
talented.
Brock may win the MVP. We'll see. We're getting close. Is Deshaun Watson better than Brock?
No
No.
way.
Maybe in his prime.
Okay. Is
Sorry.
Kenny Pickett better than Brock?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
No, I think the correct answer is fuck no. But that's the technical term. Is Joe
Is
Joe
Matt Canada
Burrow-
better than Kyle Shanahan?
Joe Burrow. Yes.
Is Joe Burrow better
Yeah.
than Brock?
Yes.
I agree. Is Trevor Lawrence better than Brock?
No.
No.
Kev?
Yeah.
You think he is? I'm going to say
Dude,
no.
I think Trevor Lawrence is more skilled, but I'd say Brock Purdy's better quarterback right now.
Is Anthony Richardson or Gardner Minshew better than Brock?
No. Yeah. The real question is Joe Flacco.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's elite.
Is CJ Stroud better than Brock?
Ooh.
They just got destroyed today by the Jets.
Did he get hurt? Because I didn't
He
see the
did.
game.
He
Okay,
did
He
get
got
I saw
hurt.
his fantasy
Also,
points.
Yeah.
I
Dell,
like.
obviously
I
out,
would
but
love to
Nico
see.
Collins got hurt.
I would love to see what CJ Stroud could do with Shanahan's offense.
So, do you think Do you think CJ Stroud is better than Brock?
That's a close.
No.
one.
I can't say. Can't
It's
say
too
right
early
now.
to tell.
It's
He
too
could be.
early to
yeah.
tell.
I'm not gonna. Yeah,
I'm going to
too
say
early.
no. I'm going to say no. Is Ryan Tannehill better than Brock?
Oh,
No.
my goodness.
The coach said he was. Coach,
No,
I'm just
no.
fucking with you. I know you didn't mean it. Mahomes is better than Brock. All right. How about in Denver? Is
No.
Russell Wilson, who's a future Hall of Famer,
Not
is he
now.
better than Brock?
Not currently. No.
Is Justin Herbert better than Brock?
I'd say.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I'd say
Yes.
no.
But
Wait a
this
second.
is, this is
I'll
one
ask
that's
the PR
fun.
people. Is Justin Herbert better than Brock? He doesn't want to be on the record either way.
I'm going to say no because I have yet to see him do anything.
He's sub
I mean,
500.
He has
Yeah.
he has the worst coach in the NFL.
He does.
Yeah.
Well,
If we want to separate the system from the person or whatever we were talking about earlier, I'd say Justin Herbert over Brock.
Yeah.
So Kev's saying Herbert is.
I'm
Right?
saying Herbert is.
talent wise, he is, but he doesn't win.
Okay. I'll put Herbert in the yes column.
Okay.
But he is sub 500. Is Jimmy Garoppolo better than Brock?
No.
I think we all know that. Okay. Now we're getting into some tough ones. Is Dak Prescott better than Brock?
No.
I don't think so either.
No, I'm going to say no.
Kev?
I think he's the biggest fraud quarterback
He's a
to be considered for the MVP. To be considered for the MVP when he was so bad a couple weeks ago.
Is Jalen Hurts better than Brock?
Yeah.
You think he is?
Yeah.
I don't think he is. You think he is?
I think
Not-
Brock would be
Fuck.
Brock would be worse than Jalen Hurts in the Eagles offense, but Brock would be better than Purdy in the Niners offense.
So
Brock
Kev
would be
says
better than
yes.
Purdy. Brock would be better than Purdy.
Oh, sorry. Brock would be better than Hurts. And yeah.
Hurts
Danny?
would be better. You're saying Hurts would be better than
Do you
Purdy
think
in if they switched offenses, and Brock would be less. That's what you're saying, Ryan?
Actually, I don't know. I feel like they're really similar.
I think that's what you were saying, right?
Rye says yes. Hurts is better than Brock. Danny,
I
what
mean,
are you saying?
the guy absolutely showed up when it mattered last year. He had like 450 yards and like basically was perfect in the Super Bowl last year. Like, I got to give it to the guy.
We're gonna go present though. In the present today, right now.
That is such a tough one. I'm gonna go if Purdy had Jalen Hurts' offensive line, he'd be completing 80% of his passes because he wouldn't even be under pressure. So I'm going Purdy.
Kev, Hurts, Brock. Who's better?
I'll say like right now. I'll say Purdy. I'll say Purdy over to Hurts.
I'm going to say Purdy.
Last year, no.
Hurts. We overrule Ryan that one. Okay. Daniel Jones is most definitely not better than Brock.
Yeah.
The North Carolina rookie from the Commanders.
Oh gosh.
What the heck's his name again?
Guys, is he still leading the
Howell?
Poor Bryce.
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell.
You're talking about. Oh, I thought you were talking.
Sam Howell's not better than
Oh, you
Brock.
said Commanders. I thought you were thinking Carolina. Okay, yeah.
Sam Howell most definitely is not better than Brock. All right, now we're going on to Jared Goff. Is Jared Goff better than Brock?
No.
He's having a good year, but no. Here's one. I was doing a pregame today on 95.7 The Game, and I said, "Give me your team that's a a really surprise team in the playoffs." And O'Neal went with the Packers.
Yeah, Jordan Love.
Jordan Love. Is Jordan Love better than Brock?
No. He looked good. He looked good last week, but no.
Yeah.
No. Is Justin Fields better than Brock?
No.
Is Matthew Stafford better than Brock?
That's a good question.
Not at this point.
Okay.
Ooh, that's
Is
a tough
Geno
one.
or Locke better than Brock?
No.
I like that. It's kind of a rap. Geno or Locke better than Brock?
No.
Geno, The Rock. Is he better than Brock?
Is Kyler better than Brock?
No.
All right. So we have Brock behind Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert.
That makes him sixth.
That makes him sixth.
I would put him above Herbert. I put him above Herbert myself. I'd flip them.
You'd say he's a top 5 NFL quarterback.
I actually had
who are the top ones that we said no to?
Lamar.
The top quarterbacks are Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
That we said that he's better than. The top quarterbacks that we said he's better than.
The top quarterbacks that he's better than would be Tua, Rodgers, Lawrence, Stroud,
Hurts,
Russell Wilson,
Hurts,
Prescott,
Stafford.
I had him above Herbert and Lamar myself. So, because I think,
first of all, you can't do this based on career achievement. It's got to be who's better right now. I mean, it's a different debate if you're saying career achievement. One guy's a second-year player, and you're comparing him to Aaron Rodgers, who's won a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson's won a Super Bowl. Stafford has won a Super Bowl. That's those guys in some ways. They have career achievements that are better than Brock, no doubt, because they've won a Super Bowl. But I think you're talking about a guy in Brock Purdy that's roughly 5 or 6 in the NFL.
I don't like that won a Super Bowl thing. You know why?
Why?
So did Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson, and Dan Marino did not.
Nick Foles won too.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But
So you're saying
it matters.
winning a Super Bowl is not the end all be all.
Not the end all be all as far as ranking who's the better quarterback.
Yeah.
But,
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
So, that's where we're at. So would we all agree that, are we all pretty much in agreement that he's basically, what would you say? What could you say and be safe? I would say he's definitely a top 10 quarterback.
hey, RS has got a good comment that we should talk on that. See
Where is
that
it?
one in there? It's
This
That's a
one?
good subject. Yeah.
2 minutes remaining, and
you're
you're down by 7. Who you got?
Oh,
I'll take Mahomes.
Thank you, sir. 2 minutes.
Today's quarterbacks, or all time.
No, today.
I'll take
What are you
Mahomes.
going to go with? Otto Graham or something like that?
I got Mahomes.
Some leather helmet guy.
Auto
There was a time if we are going all time. I mean, and I'm not. I don't want to be like, come on, gather around, children. Let me tell you. But there was a time in the 80s and early 90s where the Niners could be down in the fourth quarter with like 10 minutes left, anything less than 7, and you could turn it off and know that you would be watching highlights of a Joe Montana-led victory. That's how good he was coming from behind. So that was my recollection. But right now, if we actually said, okay, so you're down in a game and you can have anybody leading you back, I guess I'd go with Mahomes, but I probably would go with Burrow too. I really like Burrow.
I'd go Mahomes or Hurts. I like Hurts this year, especially.
Burrow's so cold. Yeah, Purdy would be lower down my rankings for that.
Well, we haven't really seen him. You've only had 1 or 2 chances, right?
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of like the stupid stuff, like when the Warriors were just thrashing everyone, and people would like bring up like Steph Curry, like buzzer beater stats, and it's like, well, I mean, it's not his fault that they're winning all these games by 30 points. Yeah, like he doesn't even get these shots like he doesn't have to like take them from behind.
Yeah, because he sat out the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something that has to be said for the fact that Purdy has open receivers in every play. He's hitting them. He's making great plays because he's smart and he's good at passing. But not every quarterback has the luxury of having Brandon Ayuk open, most plays, because Brandon Ayuk's just a great route runner, So like that's why Mahomes is struggling, So it really I think that's the hardest thing to separate, is just separating the quarterback from the people around him, because there's 10 other guys around him.
Dallas should line up right now. They're at the half-yard line. They should do the tush push and just
watch this. They will, or it'll be a Dak pass.
I would just show them, man.
It's 10-3, huh? 10-3.
Yeah, about to be 17-3 in the next. Looks like they're lining up for it.
But I mean, out of all this debate about who was the better quarterback this summer between Trey and Brock, and it's like we got one guy who's the third string guy in Dallas, and we got another guy that we're sitting here in week 14 going, there's only 6 quarterbacks in the NFL that are better.
I told you that. I told you. They're. It's like, why would you not just run the ball in there? Like, I swear they're trying to like stat pad for Dak. You're on the half-inch line.
I know. I have a anytime touchdown.
How did you give the MVP to Dak when the Niners hung 40 on him? And didn't he throw 3 interceptions in the second half?
Yeah, he was terrible. And like I mean, I have him in fantasy. Like it's been awesome, but like all these games where they're up a zillion, like he's just like they just keep passing when they're up. It's actually crazy. Wow, are they going to stop?
This is a huge happening if the Cowboys get this win.
They gave it to Dowdle.
This is absolutely huge.
I thought he got in. He's in, man. He's over the line.
Shut up, Dan.
He's in.
I feel like a lot of the teams lately have exposed their weaknesses, except for the Niners and the Cowboys. Like right now, the Niners and the Cowboys are the best.
I don't fear the Cowboys at all. Atlanta3 became a YouTube member. Thank you, Atlanta3. Always give a little clap for the brand new YouTube members. Thank you for being a member.
We should say that we're releasing videos earlier for YouTube members. That's what we're doing.
Say that again, Kev.
New feature on YouTube.
If you become a member of the Krueg Show, you're going to get videos earlier than non-members.
Yeah, most of the videos that it depends. Like after, like the clips of the show will come out earlier, and like certain things that we schedule out, you'll get immediately, basically.
Gaza says, how can you compare Brock Purdy, who still hasn't played a full season of games? He has, actually, with quarterbacks who have played multiple seasons, and in some instances, MVP awards.
It's kind of like comparing Shohei Ohtani his first year to guys that played 5 years, and you say, well, Shohei's, how can you say he's the best player?
Well, I mean, there's two different things. I mean, there's the Lifetime Achievement Award, which in that case, you'd have to take Aaron Rodgers and put him on this list.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers is ahead of all these guys for the most part, right? Isn't he?
Every one of them, except
Well,
maybe
not Mahomes.
Oh,
Mahomes
by the
has got
way,
multiple rings.
Yeah. You guys have an announcement to make too, don't you, Larry? A winner. Didn't you say?
Dan is a winner, ladies and gentlemen. I just want everybody to know that Danny is a winner. Congratulations, Dan, for being a tremendous winner. I mean, Dan has won. And
I thought since
what
you were
he's
talking
won,
members, I thought you were going to do your winner award there.
well, that's true. Kev, do you want to announce the winner of our contest?
No, I think you should do it.
I would, but I wrote it down on a piece of paper. Now I can't find the piece of paper.
Text it to him in the chat, in the private chat.
Hold on a second. God damn it. Excuse me. We have a winner for the for the jersey award. The jersey, it's David Rich. Is that his name?
No, Adam.
Adam Rich. Adam Rich is the winner of our jersey award.
You should do it like a Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, though. Our winner.
Let's pull it out of the hopper. Pull it out of the hopper, and it's Adam Rich from Encinitas. And it's unbelievable. He just moved from Chula Vista, and he's down there in Encinitas listening to the mighty 690. All right. Adam Rich, though, has won and he gets his choice, right, Kev, of a Bosa jersey or a Purdy jersey.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that.
Are those autographed?
No. But it's better. It's in his size. So if
dang, that's worth some money if those are autographed.
Well, that'd be incredible if it was autographed. Carlos M says Herbert, Lawrence have stronger arms, but they're not better than Brock. Herbert in Lawrence. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's like, wait a second. I mean, if we're gonna say that Herbert is better than Brock, isn't that a projection based on his stature? So if we're gonna say Herbert's better than Brock, it almost seems like we should be saying that Lawrence is better than Brock.
You mean stature, that he's 6'6" and Brock looks like 6, like he's just Demute.
Well, that's why I paused on Lawrence.
Diminutive.
You mean, are you saying that? Yeah, Demute. I'm going to mute myself on that one.
That is bad.
You don't even have to mute me there. I'm just going to mute my mic right now.
Maybe that'll be the next question for Kyle during the press conference. Hey, Kyle, what's it like having a quarterback that's kind of demute? Excuse me? What? Who? What? Oh, sorry. That was Dan Cochimilio's question. No, but I mean, do you see what I'm saying? Carlos says Herbert and Lawrence have stronger arms, but they're not better. And I would kind of agree. Those guys are the fit. Can we not separate the physical prototype from better? I mean, can't you say that Herbert has more potential or that Lawrence has more potential? Like, if you're going to look at Herbert and say that he's better, then that he's sub 500. Don't you have to project Lawrence as being better too? To me, it's you got to have one. They're either both better or they're both worse.
Okay, but the record thing, it's like he got drafted onto a team that was drafting the 4th pick overall. Brock Purdy got drafted to a team that just went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago and has the best roster in the NFL. So it's more like if you put them on the same team, who's winning more games with the same team? Because you can't look.
I'm just saying. I mean, Herbert. I mean, we can't pretend that Lawrence doesn't have weapons. He's got Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne. I mean, those are good weapons. We can't pretend that Herbert doesn't have good weapons. I mean, Keenan Allen is badass.
Yeah, and when they
Mike
had
Williams
and Eckler,
Gerald Everett. I mean, you tell me that those guys aren't good weapons? Those are good weapons.
I'm a big Trevor Lawrence hater. So
yeah,
I actually just don't like Lawrence at all. I I also think like Herbert at least like you can kind of tell he processes well. I don't think that Trevor Lawrence processes well at all. Oh, and he also I've seen him so many times like they get into like they get in the red zone and he just sucks at punching it in. He sucks at throwing touchdowns. But Herbert, I bought into the Herbert backlash when like I think about like maybe a year and a half ago when you started the show, Larry, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, March of 2022.
And like we had Jordan Elliott on, who's like a super smart guy, and a good football smart guy, and he said that he thinks that Herbert is the best quarterback in the NFL. And it's like those were the kind of takes that like got me off the Herbert stuff. But I mean,
you should have seen Jim Druckenmiller, man.
I don't know. Herbert's just still so nasty.
Druck had a howitzer.
I agree though. There is something about Lawrence that like he has the same skills that Herbert has, but he doesn't process as well. He makes more mistakes that make you go like, wait, this guy's not the generational player that he was supposed to be. So I agree, but I think Herbert. I was gonna say I think Herbert. If you put him on the same team, would perform slightly better.
How do you think Brock would do if he was the Jets quarterback right now?
See, I've heard a lot of people kind of make this argument that if you took Brock and put him on a bad team, that team would be better if you put him on a bad team.
Have to be.
I mean, he knows how to play the position.
Well, he gets rid of the ball. He gets his reads, and he knows how to evade.
He processes, the ball comes out on time with accuracy. He knows where to go with it. I mean, let's be honest here. How many 23-year-old quarterbacks can you not blitz? Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, when he get blitzed, he's last week against Philly, when he got blitzed, he was 10 for 10. 10 for 10. With a perfect quarterback rating of 158.3. How many 23-year-old quarterbacks that when you're sitting there going, all right, guys, we're going to try to beat this guy this week. What are we going to do? 99.9% of all, scouts or coaching staffs would be like, man, we just got to speed him up. We got to blitz him. We got to make him uncomfortable. We got to move him off the spot. We got to put a lot of pressure on him. Not this guy. This guy, you'd be better off rushing him with 4, dropping 7, trying to play man-to-man, trying to hug up tight coverage. Because if you give him a defined read pre-snap, he knows where to go with the ball, and he just goes there with it. I mean, I can't think of too many young quarterbacks that you could just say, well, he's 23, but you can't blitz this guy. I mean,
I just want to make the point that like perception is everything. Like if those Jets are 4-9, if Brock Purdy was on the Jets and they were say 9-4, people would be like, Brock Purdy's really good, but there's no chance in hell he would be in the top 10 category, like top 10 QB vote. He would be like, oh, maybe he's top 15. There was no chance in hell he would be in the MVP like race. It's all about like the team that you're on that helps. So like Brock Purdy may be a great quarterback, but like he definitely has to benefit from the team that he's on. That's all I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah, and that's true of every good quarterback that's winning. I mean, obviously a great quarterback can't do it without any weapons. I mean, we saw Brady, even though he was 41 and he was, the year before he was or I guess was it the year before that he won the Super Bowl, but he was still great. If he was on the Niners, he would have done a lot better last year than he would have been with Tampa. But
I also think like Brady proved like obviously he's to like a completely different level where he can like switch teams and stuff like that. But I think that there's a little bit too much of that NBA-ification of like, oh, if you put that guy in that uniform and this guy on that team, like, didn't we see it with like Deshaun Watson? I mean, we would have all like bet our lives that guy truly was a top 5 quarterback in the league. The guy was freaking awesome. And he leaves that situation and he's just been bizarrely bad in Cleveland. And what everyone's saying is like, the guy can't process like worth a lick. And like in Houston, they would just throw him in shotgun and he'd kind of just cook back there. And he looked great with all his physicality and all that stuff. But on the Browns, like they kind of run a similar thing to the Shanahan where it's, run first and QB under center, and he just can't do it. You can't hang with it.
Gaza says for a while, Carson Wentz and Deshaun Watson were two of the best quarterbacks in football. Nick Foles was a Super Bowl MVP. So, Jesse Wade here says, you heard my boy Michael Miller. Brock Purdy is the number one quarterback in the NFL.
I mean, there's Days said, who cares who's better than who? He is good for us. There is a point to like, it doesn't really matter. Like he's doing as good of a job as like literally as possible. So like, I don't even know like how you could improve on like how good he's doing. Like when you look at all his stats and stuff, like if you put Mahomes here, like what would there be a little more rushing and like 15 more yards a game? I don't know.
All right, I hope people don't think I'm hating on Brock. Like I think he's the franchise quarterback of the future. He's their guy, and he played amazing.
Why do you got to hate on
him? Why are you hating, Kev?
Yeah, why do you got to be such a hater?
No. Well, I saw a few people say, "Why is this guy hating so hard?" I love the guy. He's awesome. I was just trying to
love the guy. The guy's a great guy.
It's bizarre.
The guy's a great guy. He's super humble. His teammates love him. He's tough. You saw him run last week in Philly. Kind of ran over a couple of guys. The guys believe in him. He's not one of these look at me kind of guys. I think he's a really good leader. I mean, let's be honest, man. Brock Purdy is the equivalent of walking down the street and, oh, look at that. There's $100 bill.
I thought you were going to sing Pretty Woman, Larry.
There's $100 bill. I just found $100 bill out of nowhere. It was blowing on the street. That's what Brock Purdy is. He's like found money. Like, what? You got to be kidding me. I found $100 today. That's where the Niners are.
Oh, he's more like finding
the interesting debate would be this. Where would we be right now? And what kind of discussion would be going on right now? Brock Purdy didn't exist. Trey Lance is not good. Jimmy Garoppolo is not here. I mean, if Trey Lance were really good, he'd be the backup in Dallas right now, right? Don't you think?
With how shitty the quarterback play is, like across the league, like it's
nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted Trey.
That's why I said Purdy's not $100 bill walking across the street, or you found in the street. He's $1 million check that you found in a bush, because he literally saved your ass. Because Trey Lance was coming to now. Sam Darnold would be starting right now. Most likely.
By the way, I was watching the quarterbacks warm up on the sidelines. Think about this for a second. Think about the things that we accept as normal in sports. The sport is rough, right? I've heard people compare playing quarterback in the NFL to standing on a freeway as cars go by at 65 miles an hour, because the D linemen are so destructive that if a gigantic, fast defensive tackle rampages you and sacks you, that you're basically crushed. And yet, when they warm up on the sideline, not only does Brock throws the ball to Darnold, but he doesn't throw it to Darnold. He throws it to a guy who catches it, flips it to Darnold, who then throws it back, not to Brock, but to a guy who's standing next to Brock, who catches it and flips it to Brock. We're so worried that these awesome pro athletes are going to break a finger on a sideline warm-up pass? I mean, doesn't that seem like a contradiction? I mean, it's one thing, too, to be like, oh, man, we don't want Brock to get hurt in some freak accident on the sideline. But we're worried about Sam Darnold has to have a guy catching for him?
Well,
he's 6'4", 230.
Yeah.
It doesn't that seem bizarre? I mean, it's not like these guys are catching Nolan Ryan. You know what I mean? We're talking about a football pass in a warm-up on the sideline during a timeout. And yet neither quarterback can catch. They only can throw.
The thing is with that, I mean, I remember that all the way back in high school. You just don't want your quarterback to get his thumb jammed by,
I know. We all get it, but I mean, we're going to protect him like unbelievably against a thumb jam, but then he's going to run out there and get keyholed by Chris Jones. And somebody's going to bounce on top of him.
Yeah.
Cosmin Cody Codes says he's become a YouTube member. There you go. Cosman, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you, my friend. We got this one from Daza. He says, swap CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy. Same results? If you put CJ Stroud here, would he just be doing exactly the same thing? If you put Brock on the Texans, would he be doing exactly the same thing?
Well, he's got the same offense. He doesn't, and he's got great weapons. He's got Collins. Until last week, he had Tank Dell, and he's had Brown, and same offense. 49ers, Bobby Slovic, or is that how you say it? Slovic. Yeah. I think Brock is further along, and here's why. Brock played 4 years at Iowa State. The guy has played quarterback. I don't know when he started playing quarterback, probably his freshman year or even before, but that many games at quarterback and that many defenses. And, yes, Stroud played in the Big Ten and Brock was in the Big 12, but come on, he's got probably 2 more years of college experience behind center than Stroud. Maybe 25 games more. That's a lot of experience. And Brock's reading and seeing all kinds of defenses. I think Stroud has the potential to surpass Brock, but Brock is more refined right now.
I mean, there's no doubt he's a little bit more refined right now, but I mean, it's like you get one guy's a rookie and the next guy's a second-year guy. That's the thing. I thought Richard Sherman's comments the other day on Twitter, or at least that I saw on X, were better. Were one of the better things that I've seen. Where he said, "Hey, look, people are breaking this guy down like he's a 5th or 6th-year guy. This guy's a 2nd-year quarterback. He should be compared to, Matt Corral and Desmond Ritter and
Jordan Love or something.
Jordan Love and all the real young guys. Instead, you're comparing him to everybody in the league and just being, he's not this guy, he's not that guy. Isn't it sort of like we're comparing a 2nd grader to a 5th grader? I mean, there is a learning process. Like last year I was comparing Hurts to Purdy because they are the same height, the same weight, the same measurables, they've got like 40 different similarities. And there were people that were just losing their mind, but Hurts was having the best year of his career in his 3rd year. Brock was a surprise starter who got thrown onto the field without knowing he was going to play in week 13 as a rookie. And it was like, guys, can we not project a little bit down the road, some improvement on the rookie quarterback? J49 says his bet is made. Dallas leading 17-3.
17-6 now.
17-6. His bet is made. What is that? Is that Kev?
I think that's a me reference.
Is that a reference to Kev? Is your bet made there?
Yeah, it's made.
It is? Look at you.
Made it right.
Mine's not.
Because he's at home. He's at home now from college. So mom runs a tight ship.
So my next question is like, how does Brock not win the MVP? Because at this point, I don't know. It depends on what Dak does. It's just tough because I guess Dak will probably get a bump if they end up blowing out the Eagles, like it kind of looks like. I could see the discourse with Tyreek Hill starting if he has a crazy Monday, but that would be super whack because they would never give it to Tyreek Hill in a year where it was like a Mahomes or an Allen was at the top.
Did you see the deal today? I don't know. You probably didn't, Larry, because you were at the game, but they did a little thing down Lombard Street and each curve. They showed Brock number 1 in this, number 1 in this, number 1 in this, number 1 in this. And then they put MVP ?
Did you see any needles or feces and make it realistic? Here's a real San Francisco street. Look at him dodge this needle. Look, he almost stepped in human feces, but he didn't because he's got great footwork.
Yeah, Farhan was like, we would have had Shohei if they didn't have that debate between Newsom and DeSantis when DeSantis pulled the poop map out of San Francisco.
Is that what cost the Giants Shohei? Is DeSantis's map of crap?
Yeah.
It might be. Otani said, oh, no. Oh no. Jim Molet's in the house. Molet's getting married, everybody.
All
Congrats
right.
to Jimmy. Jimmy's
Hey,
getting
Jimmy.
married.
Hey, Jimmy.
I believe it's gonna be on a Wednesday night. I can't wait.
Did you get another C note for 30,000 from Jimmy?
Jimmy, that's right, Jimmy. We're at a scene. We're at 30 grand. That means by our calculations, you owe us $3,000. No. No, I would never shame Jimmy into giving me cash. But when I see him face to face, I will. Jimmy says number 1 in long downfield receptions. Who would have thought that? Besides Krueger, that is.
Who would have thought that?
His yards per attempt is like so far. It's like solid, like 2 yards above number 2. Like it's crazy.
Jimmy says, "Cheers, brother." LOL. Seriously. And now people in the chat are saying, "Congrats to Mole." Yeah, Mole, we're glad you found happiness, brother.
Everybody married. Way to go, Jimmy.
Always. We got this one from MJ. He says, "Larry, did you guys ever go to the wedding that you were invited to in the chat?" No, we didn't go.
Oh, D-Shot.
I am the kind of guy that would go, though.
Come on, D-Shot. He says, I rest in peace.
Yeah, come on. Soul Certifies says, "Congrats, bro." Yeah, look at this one. Bang, bang, 49er gang. Don't do it, Jim. Buy a dog. Oh, that ain't right. That is not right. That is not right. Thank you, sir. So, guys, really good win tonight or today for the 49ers. I mean, if I had to say to you, if you were giving out a game ball, who are you giving your game ball to? I mean, this might be the toughest game ball to award of all time. Why? Because Purdy completed 70%. He threw for 368 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have the 1 pick. Ayuk had 6 for 126. Debo had 7 for 149 and a touchdown. CMC
and a rushing touchdown.
That's right. CMC had 16 for 145 and averaged over 9 yards a carry. Kittle had a great touchdown as well, where the guy held him and he still scored. He had 3 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. And then defense, I mean, on defense, I mean, the 49ers forced Seattle to go 2 for 11 on 3rd down conversions. That was incredible. I thought you could give it to Kinlaw for the way he stepped in and played without Armstead. Greenlaw is a freaking warrior. That guy went down with a hip injury. I asked him, I said, "Dre, what happened on the hip?" And he's like, "Friendly fire, man. Fred caught me." I mean, that's the other thing about football. You can get.
I saw that. Yeah.
You see that, Fred? Yeah. Fred, I didn't see it. What did it look like, Danny?
Looked like he got hit right in the thigh. Just maybe
by
above,
Fred.
Above the pad. His leg was up in the air, and then as he was going for the tackle, that was the play that was that Walker when he was running back, and I think it was Walker when he was running sideline to sideline on that one play. They were chasing him, and you reverse field, and Dre was coming to full right at him, and then he just hit Fred and just hit him right in the you could see he's just got probably a bad Charlie horse is my guess.
Yeah. I said, "Dre, how many injuries you got right now?" You got the shoulder, you got the ankle, you got the thigh, he's like, "Oh man, I'm losing track. That's how many injuries he's carrying around." By the way, quick mention here on the show. We probably should mention this. This week, obviously I'm here at Levi's. But next week the Niners play at the Cardinals, and we will be right here. Join us December 17th at the watch party. We're going to have the Pig and a Pickle watch party, 341 Corte Madera Town Center in Corte Madera. So if you're in Northern California, if you're in the Bay Area, or if you want to fly in for the festivities, you're more than welcome. We're going to all convene.
You paying for my flight, Larry?
I'll pay for your barbecue. I'll buy you a beer.
All right.
But we're going to do a watch party for the Cardinal game next week, and we're going to do the post-game show from Pig and a Pickle.
And where's it at?
It's at 341 Corte Madera Town Center in Corte Madera, California.
Yeah, what's the name of the place, though?
Pig in a Pickle.
No, what's it called?
Pig in a Pickle.
No, it's Pig in a Pickle. How do you do that?
Pig in a Pickle.
There we
Or I
go.
can do it in my Trent Baalke voice. Join us. I want you guys all to join Lowry on Pig in a Pickle. And I'll tell you, I had a pig when I was growing up. And then, you know what happened? Tore its ACL. And then had to put that thing down. But I'll tell you, I'm a big fan of Charlotte's Web because of that goddamn pig. And I'm a big fan of the pickle. I really like the Pig in a Pickle. No, but December 17th, we'll be there. The Niners play at 1. I think we're going to be there around noon. It closes at 8. It's going to be an open house. If you've ever been out to the Corte Madera, they're at 341 Corte Madera Town Center. It's in Marin. We're going to do a watch party next Sunday. And everybody, it's the 17th of December, right? And we're going to be there all day, having barbecue, watching the Niners and the Cardinals, enjoying ourselves. But it's a big time mall. Thank you, sir. It's a great mall, and obviously it's December 17th. So it's one of the last weekend shopping days before Christmas. So, stop by, say hello, have some barbecue, maybe have a little lunch. Maybe have a beer, go Christmas shopping if you want. Maybe you want to come back and watch us do a little bit of the post game. It's going to be great. It's not the hugest restaurant, so we're trying to limit it. How many people what's the limit, Kev?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I would say the restaurant can't take more than 100. So, stop by, say hello, have a beer, have some barbecue. Say hi to Damon and Mary, get the brisket, get the brisket chili.
Don't let that stop you from coming, because I don't think we have like a registered 100 people coming. So I wouldn't.
No, we don't. I don't know. Yeah, don't come don't not come because it's gonna be too packed. And they have an outside patio. They have heat lamps, I believe, outside. So hang out. Come hang out with us on. I'll be there. Kev will be there. Rye, you're more than welcome. I know you're down in Southern Cal, but if you're up here, because I know your parents are up here. If you're up here that weekend next Sunday, you're more than welcome. I'll buy you a beer, buy you some barbecue, and would love to see you. Danny, if you're in town, I'd love to see you as well. And anybody who's a fan of the show or just been a fan of what we've done over the last couple of years, this is the first meet and greet that we've done. They've been very, very fun. I did one with Damon at a place in the city, and it was a lot of fun. So anyway, it's going to be real casual. We're just going to have a little barbecue, drink some beer, watch the Niners, and we'll do the post-game show. So if you're up here and you want to join us, please do. We'd love to. We'd love to see all of you guys.
What a strike by Dak! A half-yard pass.
Okay, sorry. I almost had to interrupt. Oh, Larry. So it's 23-6, but that was classic. It was got it to Brandon Cooks. They were literally on the inch line, first and goal on the inch. And they just go shotgun Dak, tries to throw a fade over the guy's head. Then they just don't even think about it. No, we're not running the ball. They another shotgun play, and they just get cooked.
Were they out of timeouts? I know there was only 25 seconds. Were they out of timeouts? Is that why they were throwing?
No, they just throw because Dak. They want to get Dak his stats, and they want to get him the MVP on Sunday Night Football.
Jeez. Would you be more afraid if I told you the Niners had to play one of these two teams here at Levi's to go to the Super Bowl? The Eagles or the Cowboys? Who do you want? Despite this result going on here, I still want the Cowboys.
Oh, I'm getting dunked on. I guess they were out of timeouts. All right, fair enough.
Who do you guys want? If it came down to the Niners had to go through had to play Dallas or Philly to go to the Super Bowl, who would you rather play?
Dallas.
That's tough. The only reason I hesitate with Dallas is I know we have their number, but it's getting to the point where they're getting better and they're going to, that factor of wanting.
Are they getting better or are they just playing bad teams?
I think they're getting better.
No, they're going to get stomped by the Bills next week.
I hope. I mean, either one would be not an easy, but I think Dallas is better defensively than the Eagles are. I think Dallas is, but I think I think that Dallas could be more manhandled physically than Philly.
Kev, who'd you rather play?
I feel like quarterback play gets a little bit more important come playoff time. I think I would be a little bit more afraid of Jalen Hurts than I would of Dak Prescott. So I would say I'd rather face the Cowboys than the Eagles.
We got this one from Daza. Would you pay Brock Purdy $45 million per year? Because if he's the franchise, you eventually will have to, and then you won't have the talent around him. I mean, ultimately, there is no choice. I mean, if the guy is your franchise quarterback, that he's going to get franchise quarterback money, right? So you're going to have to pay him. You're going to have to pay him. So
you're simply going to have to. I'm going to make a prediction here. So everyone's going to be super hyped up on the Cowboys, obviously, like as you should, I guess, after this game. But what's going to happen with Philly is just in a tough stretch right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they even lose at the Seahawks. But this is just kind of their 3-game skid. Like they've still been so impressive this year. And then they finish the season with Giants, Cardinals, Giants. Right. So like they're going to just have they're going to have a nice 3 wins in a row. Then they're going to be able to get a little healthier. Meanwhile, the Cowboys finish the season after this win tonight. They're going to have to go all the way to Buffalo, play at Buffalo.
It's at Buffalo?
It's at Buffalo. Then they're going to have to go at the Dolphins, who have a very tough home field. And then they have a home game versus the Lions and then at Commanders. So I think Dallas gets beat up, and I still think Philly wins the division. And, you know, you'd rather play Dallas in the playoffs.
So I think it'll end. I think I'm hoping, but I think it will work out this way. Niners 1, Eagles 2, Detroit 3, and whoever the heck wins the NFC South, who cares, 4. And then Dallas 5. And I think I don't know what the Rams schedule is, but they seem like a team that could sneak in at 6 or 7. And the other team is either going to be, I think, Green Bay or Minnesota.
Woodpit 420 says we'll beat either team. Geo here says I'd rather play Philly in the playoffs. Really? I think I'd rather play Dallas. Hey, let me ask you guys this. Is Dallas getting better, or is Dallas playing nobodies?
I think they're getting better. I really do. I mean, their offense has definitely gotten better.
No visor for Sirianni, huh?
I mean, Brandon Cooks is helping out with he's coming around, which is allowing CD to dominate. And I got my Uber Eats at the door here. Hold on.
Oh, look at you. You're like a teenager. Susan D. Are you going to do like your Dan? Do like your individual handshake, like the guys does in the commercial. Have you guys seen that where the guy does like a little hit there, like doing a hand deal? Like, you guys see that? It's like, I guess you don't have to be there. Susan D says Dallas is due to beat us if you're going by the odds. I don't know. Do you buy that?
No, not with Dak. Dak is so in his own head. That's like this game. I expected it was either going to be a Dallas blowout, or if it was close, Philly was going to win. And it looks like it's Dallas.
Bruce R says Cowboys Niners are in Dak's head.
You know what? The Cowboys are going to get lucky though. If they end up not winning the division, that first game for them, they're just going to get to play the NFC South winner. Like that's just going to be a cupcake, even though it's a road game.
G Martinez says Dallas is playing good, guys. You can see it. We still their daddies though. It's like Pedro.
If the Niners did get the 1 seed and Dallas was in the 5 seed and beat the 4 seed, assuming Philly beats the 2 seed, they would play, say, whatever, the 7. That would put the Niners against Dallas the first game.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kev? Is Dallas getting better, or are they just playing kind of mediocre teams?
I think you have to say they're getting better. How what else would they be getting? They're getting worse. I don't think they're getting worse.
Well, they could just be playing bad teams. I mean, run
They're
down their
playing the
schedule.
Eagles.
Who have they beaten? Who have they beaten since the Niners beat them?
Cowboys.
The only
who
team
did
they
Dallas
beat with
play?
a winning record at the time was Seattle.
Now Seattle has a losing record.
Yeah.
So this will be their first above 500 victory.
They beat the Chargers, the Rams.
The Chargers was a life and death game that could have gone either direction.
Facts.
That was a national
They
TV game.
Lost to the Eagles in a close one in November. Beat the Giants, beat the Panthers, beat the Commanders, beat the Seahawks.
But wait, the Giants are atrocious. The Panthers are the worst team in football. The Commanders were, what was the score of that game? They kind of own the Commanders.
45-10. 45-10. And then they beat the Seahawks, and they're beating the Eagles.
Yeah,
So-
so I mean,
We'll
They
see.
beat-
That's the answer.
Yeah, I
we'll
mean-
see now. Like,
Because they have Bills, Dolphins, Lions, which is kind of a gauntlet.
I don't think I've ever heard more gauntlet talk than this year. Between the Philly gauntlet and the Niners bird gauntlet, and now Dallas has a gauntlet at the end of the year.
It's
Seriously.
the season of the gauntlet.
It's all about gauntlets and standing on business. That's what it is.
and he's him.
Yeah, and he's
Oh yeah,
him.
we'll see if the
he's
Cowboys
not
can
him.
stand on business.
That's what that. And then if they do, then we might have to start giving Dak his flowers.
Will who's that?
If
Who's
Dak
the
stands on business, we're giving him flowers.
who's the guy? Nick Wright. Will Nick Wright give Brock his flowers tomorrow?
No, he's going to spend the whole show talking about LeBron's little NBA Cup MVP. That's his own. That's
ridiculous.
the only. It's the only thing he
Biggest
can do.
nothing
with
burger of all
I
time.
know.
I know. I was shocked to see like big people in the media going, "This is what does it." It's like, what? The in-season tournament that no one gives
Yeah.
a shit about is the thing that puts him over MJ?
They beat.
Like, really?
They beat the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah,
Seriously.
and he's like,
Pelicans and the Pacers.
and he's such a wonderful guy because he did it for the young guys because they don't have enough money, and that 500,000.
he's a true hero.
He was totally. He did it all
He's a
for the young
selfless
guys.
human being.
Yeah.
Bazzy Mian says the Eagles are frauds. He says they should have lost against KC, Buffalo, and Dallas.
Their defense is on major fraud alert right now.
Thank you.
I think both
Has
of these
anyone seen
defenses
how-
are a little fraudy.
Has anyone got an eye out for a Shaq Leonard? Is he doing anything?
Oh yeah.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed this. I'm gonna share the screen. You guys are gonna be amazed. You know, you think of the NFL and how cutthroat the NFL is, right? It's just so cutthroat. It's like if you either do or you don't, right? You either make plays or you don't. And it's like, you know, some guys, you know, it's not like the NBA or MLB where everybody's got a guaranteed deal. And it's like, if you don't play good, you're gone. You know, you're absolutely finished. Last week, there was that play in the game where Debo ran the tunnel screen. And you guys saw the tunnel screen, right? That Debo ran.
Are you talking about Nicholas Morrow who got cut?
No, I'm talking about Christian Ellis, who got cut.
Oh, that's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, Christian Ellis. Christian Ellis took some bad steps, and here it is. Basically, I'm going to put this up here. I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to show you this guy. This is how brutal the NFL is. This is just an incredibly brutal thing. Niners Eagles last week. The Niners throw the tunnel screen to Debo. And here we go. Here it is. Okay. And he's gone. Oh boy, look at that linebacker chasing him like it's his life depends on it. You know why? Because his pro football life did depend on it. They cut him. Here it is again. Linebacker's up top, a little fake to Christian, takes 3 wrong steps. Now he's chasing it from behind, and he doesn't quite get him. He's wearing number 53. And tonight, wearing number 53 is Shaq Leonard. That's how brutal is that? That's the difference between the NFL and the NBA and MLB.
Yeah,
That's
and the
true.
If he makes this tackle, He's probably a hero or whatever. He's got a paycheck for another week. Instead, he doesn't make that tackle. And look at him. He goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wrong steps up. Debo's going the other way. Get back. Can't get back. 3 days later, Shaq Leonard's wearing your number, and you're on the unemployment
It's
line.
not like you can go to the G League or down to AAA.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, I got to go find a job.
Dude, isn't that brutal? I mean, think about it. Kyle Shanahan designed that play, and Christian carried out that fake, and now that guy doesn't have a gig, loses his job.
How about that whole just the Eagles defense? Because the Niners went 6 straight touchdowns versus them to end the game.
Pats claimed him. What's that?
You know how like the Niners went 6 straight touchdowns to end the game versus the Philly D? They've now gone touchdown, field goal, touchdown, touchdown. That's like 10 drives in a row. And they've allowed a touchdown on all of them except for one in which they allowed a field goal.
To me, I mean, what I see with Philadelphia is a team that, you lost CJ Gardner-Johnson. You replaced him with Avonte Maddox. You tried to trade for Patrick Surtain. You couldn't do it. Now you've got guys like Blankenship in your secondary. Blankenship is not CJ Gardner-Johnson. They lost Hargrave. Jalen Carter's monster, but the Niners had a much better plan to block Hassan Reddick. Carter was very, very quiet. The Eagles linebackers are totally ordinary. Their safeties are totally ordinary. They lost both of their coordinators. I mean, I think you could almost say that Sirianni deserves Coach of the Year for them being 10-1 or whatever it was.
That's a good. I like that zag. It is also like with the tush push gone next year, and all of a sudden Jalen Hurts' salary is going to really start mattering. Like this is kind of their year. Like if they don't figure shit out this year, like they are going to be in a tough spot.
We welcome in the great John Dickinson from formerly of 95.7 The Game, now working for KMBR 680, the sports leader, who JD's in the house. JD, what did you think of the win tonight?
Hell of a win. I mean, explosive play after explosive play after explosive play. I mean, this team is just nothing but explosive plays. Tonight or this afternoon, they didn't have the long, extended, kill the clock, take 10 minutes off drives, but who needs that when you can go 3 plays and move it down the field? And Purdy's making deep throws and McCaffrey's breaking off runs. And I mean, they just have this thing dialed. Made the adjustment on DK Metcalf, looked a little vulnerable on defense, but made enough plays offensively to where once they got the lead, they were able to do enough defensively to keep the Seahawks at bay. But just a hell of a win in what could have been kind of a letdown game. And the legend of Brock Purdy continues to grow when you start looking at his numbers and the conversation about him being in the MVP race on a night now where the Niners, it's looking like, are going to find themselves atop the NFC if Dallas can continue what they've been doing to Philadelphia.
I know there's so many different things we want to get your thoughts on, but first of them, why don't we start with Purdy? Would you give him the MVP? I mean, he threw for his highest yardage total tonight. He spread the ball around. He had 200-yard receivers. He moved incredibly well in the pocket. We were talking before about that pass to Ayuk in the third quarter where he moved incredibly well in the pocket and threw it downfield to him for a big gainer on the first play of the drive. Who gets your MVP vote?
I think at the end of the night, it's going to have to be Brock Purdy as the leader in the clubhouse through these first 13 games, because I tend, and everybody looks at it a little bit differently. I don't know how you guys look at it. I tend to look at it as best player, best team. And so I usually, when I go through starting to look at the MVP, I think I go to the standings first and foremost. And so if the Niners are the number 1 seed in the NFC, and I was just looking at the AFC, Baltimore is at the top right now in the AFC. I don't think, Kansas, I'm not going with it I'm not going with, anybody at Mahomes or anybody with the, somewhat disappointing season that they've had. I'm not going with Jalen Hurts at this point. I'm not going with Dak, although I do think Dak is probably pushing his way up the charts given the season that he's had since the 49ers throttled him here back in October. So I think and then you also have to look at the split vote as far, like, I think you could have made the case a couple of weeks ago that Christian McCaffrey on the 49ers, well, he's been the guy that's made it all go. And I think through the first 5-game winning streak that this team had, I would have rolled with McCaffrey, even though Purdy was pretty good. This last 5-game winning streak, I think I'm rolling with Purdy, and his numbers keep getting better and better. And they have the big win in Philadelphia, and he puts up a lot of the numbers that he does in the game today. I mean, the yards per attempt and the air yards, and every single little thing that anybody can look at to try and take his game down, he's just bouncing back and putting it right back in. Now what? Now what about my air yards average? Now what about my overall yards per play average? Now what about my total yards? Now what about my touchdown pass? Like he just keeps checking every box. So at the end of the night, if the Niners are the best team in the NFC and basically the best team in the NFL, we'll see when the Niners and Ravens play on Christmas at Levi's. That's going to be a good one. But as far as I think you have to go with I think he is just ascending up the mountain as far as MVP. And so, yeah, close of business tonight. I think he'd be my favorite.
Wow. It is amazing, but he did play exceptionally today, and it wasn't like everything went his way. His feel in the pocket, his ability to move within the pocket is really, really
off-schedule plays, man. The subtle off-schedule play, not the Russell Wilson, spinning back, 20 yards and then making it, and then, but just, it's the subtle ability to evade and then get to a spot and then make a throw. I mean, that's the way that he gets it done. And with all of the weapons the Niners have, it's just taken everything to another level.
We can get to more questions here, but Woodpit 420 has a very pertinent question. He says, what is Dan eating? Dan, what do you got? What is that?
Fast Panda?
Panda Express.
Panda.
That's really good for you.
Uber Eats, man. You got to eat something when you're. I was invited out with the work team that I'm here with to go out for like a Ruth Chris, but I said I got more important things to do.
You could have gone to Ruth Chris. You could have gone to Ruth Chris Steakhouse and you're eating Panda Express.
Well, I had this important date with this podcast, man. I had to.
Hey, that's dedication, man.
Seriously, you could have had a country ribeye, and instead
I would have had a fillet. I would have had a fillet.
You would have had a fillet. Look at you! You're such a dainty eater.
Filet mignon's my favorite.
I would like a fillet, high quality. Can I have a knife that I can cut it? Every bite, I'm just. Do you ask for extra butter on your steak? Are you that
Larry?
guy?
You gotta factor in. I mean, with those hands, the ribeye
a smaller hand guy wants a smaller fillet.
Yeah,
you don't want a porterhouse. You want to.
Hey,
I'd like a fillet.
I saw in the chat somebody said if Joe and Steve could win the MVP with Jerry Rice, give Brock.
That was Mollet who said that.
And speaking of,
that's a good point by Mollet.
Yeah,
who's getting married on a Wednesday next year.
Speaking of Montana, JD, somebody in this chat in this 5-man stream had the audacity to say that Brock Purdy is better than Joe Montana.
Danny started the stream trying to make headlines, and people in the chat just overwhelmed him with, you're an idiot, you're a freaking moron, you're a jackass. Actually, those all came from me, but some people in the stream said that as well.
At this point in his career,
he says that Brock Purdy compared to Joe Montana at the same point in their careers, that Brock is better than Joe.
Well, so the big year for Joe was his third year, right?
Right.
81 was his third year. Forgive my 81 knowledge, since that was the year that I was born. So forgive my goodness. So I don't have a great recollection.
I was 11. Dan was only 40.
I don't have a great recollection of Montana's 81 year. I have no recollection of 79 or 80. But
Kev was like negative integers. I mean, he was just a rumor at that point. Rye as well. Rye wasn't even, he wasn't even in the crib.
So I do remember Joe, but my memories of Joe were very young in the last two Super Bowls that he won, the 88 Super Bowl. That my first memory of watching football was the Bengals 49ers second Super Bowl when the second time they played, the third one the Niners won in Miami with Joe leading them down at the end. That was the first, I still remember, that was the first game I consciously remember watching with my dad. And so it's a fond memory. And the Niners won the Super Bowl, and it was great. And then Bill Walsh retired right after the game. Like, that was my first memory that stuck as an 8-year-old. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's not a crazy take if Montana didn't really burst out till the third year.
Yeah, no, it's not a crazy take, but it does tell you that, it is a reminder of how amazing this Purdy story really is right now. JD, we were talking about this as well. With the kind of the topsy-turvy nature of the NFL, where Kansas City lost today and Buffalo doesn't look great, and the Ravens gave up a ton of points to the Rams, and the Eagles are getting beaten, and the Niners own Dallas, and Detroit lost to Chicago today, and all
Frauds.
Yeah. Who would you say is the Super Bowl? If you like either the best Super Bowl matchup or the toughest one? I mean, if you said right now, here we are, it's December 10th. Who's in your Super Bowl? Who are you going with?
I would go with the 49ers and the Ravens today. I think, and I would not rule out Kansas City, but I almost feel like the other team that they're going to have to get in, and I'm looking right now, and they're at 11th. The team that has been a little weird for me lately is Buffalo. Like, I feel like if Buffalo gets in, Buffalo might make some noise. I know they're losing every single close game, but they keep getting off the mat after a lot of gut punch losses and coming back and playing a quality game the next week. And so I'll just put it this way. It wouldn't surprise me if they can figure out a way to get in if they ended up in an AFC championship game and ended up playing a Kansas City or ended up playing a Baltimore, and maybe they get beat. But I feel like that's the one wild card team that I'm not going to rule out as far as making a run. But beyond that, it's Kansas City because they're Kansas City, and it's Baltimore because I think they're consistently the best team. I do not believe in Miami. I got to see Miami beat somebody good. So I'm just gonna let that one ride. And if they prove me wrong, they prove me wrong. I'll tip my cap to them. And then in the NFC, I mean, Philadelphia is leaking oil big time. Dallas is coming on as Philadelphia is leaking. And then I think the Niners are the best team, and the Niners have dominant wins over both. So I think it's the Niners, and I think it's Baltimore right now with those other teams that I mentioned. The one thing I'm going to say about Philadelphia, though, getting their ass kicked tonight, they go and play at Seattle next Monday night, but then they go Giants, Cardinals, Giants. So as much as everybody's going to write off Philadelphia, by the end of the year, I think Philadelphia's got some winnable games to where they may not end up being the 1 seed, but they right the ship and they feel like they have some momentum going into the playoffs to start being the team that they've been for a good chunk of this season. So I'm not going to rule out Philadelphia as far as being that team that can get to an NFC championship game. But if they come out here, look out.
I'll tell you the game that I just feel like it would be so exciting to watch would be Shanahan against his pupil McDaniels, Niners Dolphins in Vegas on Super Bowl Sunday, with all that speed and Tyreek Hill and all the Niners weapons and these two offensive gurus, and there's something about Miami. I don't know if you guys have, if JD or if anybody here has caught the in-season Hard Knocks, but
yeah,
there's McDaniel's got a little special vibe going right now in Miami, and their defense is getting better, and they've got major offensive weapons. What do you think?
I'm out on them. I've watched a little of the in-season Hard Knocks. I'm super impressed with McDaniels. I think when they're clicking, they're as good as anybody. I think Fangio's great. Like I'm a big Vic Fangio guy. I don't know that they have enough. I just don't trust them. They haven't beaten quality opponents enough for me, or at all really for me, to believe that they're a team that's going to make it to the Super Bowl. But again, I'm open-minded to being proven wrong here at some point in the next 4 weeks, or as they start rolling in the playoffs. I'm much more of a believer in Kansas City getting it together because they're Kansas City with the champion's blood and Mahomes and Andy Reid, or Baltimore just proving themselves to be maybe the better team coming out of the AFC for this season alone. I'm not a believer in. I feel like Miami is significantly better. Like they're better than the Lions. They're a little Lionsy to me. They're a little not quite as good as like good record, good season, a lot of talent, but they're closer to a 500 team to me than they are a Super Bowl contender.
If you had to pick between Dallas and Philly to go to the Super Bowl, to come back and play the Niners, would you rather play Dallas here? Let's just assume Philly, Dallas goes on and beats Philly and the Niners were on the table, which is a big assumption because Baltimore's really good and there's these other games in between as well. But let's just say, for the sake of this question, that that's the case. Would you rather play Dallas or Philly in the playoffs if you're the Niners?
Either or. I mean, we can throw it around the room. I mean, either or. I mean, I think Dallas, just based on the matchup and the head-to-head, the fact that the Niners have been able to do everything they need to do to beat them now 3 straight times, going back the last 2 playoffs and this year and blowing them out. I think you could make a case that Dallas is better than Philly right now. I mean, they probably should have beat them a couple weeks ago in Philly. They're blowing them out tonight. I think you could make the case. Dallas still has that great defense. They kept the game close last year at Levi's, although I think this is a much better 49er offensive team. They may be a little bit more vulnerable defensively. So it's kind of the past history versus the team that's a little leaky right now. So I think there is a case to be made.
Is this true?
What's that?
Is it true what Jimmy's saying here? He says, Larry, you're going to have to play both if they get the 1 seed.
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on who wins. But Dallas whoever doesn't win the division in the East is going to be the 5 seed, basically. So If everything goes chalk, the 4-5 winner would play the 1.
Exactly.
But if there's an upset in either of the other games, then the upset winner would come and play the 1. So now there's 2 wild card games. You got your 2-7 and your 3-6. And if either your 7 or your 6 pull off an upset, then that team goes and plays the 1
Ideally,
seed.
what would be ideal? Niners in with the 1 seed, and then Atlanta, New Orleans, or whoever wins that division beats Dallas at home, and then the 2 seed would play Detroit, let's say, as the 3 seed, and the Niners would then get the NFC South winner, win that game, and then you hope Detroit somehow upsets, say Philly, and then 49ers get Detroit for the NFC Championship at home.
Yeah, or you just get an upset like the Packers or the Rams or the Vikings
beating the 2 seed,
goes in and beats Detroit or beats Dallas or Philadelphia, like one of those.
Because they play one. They're gonna play the highest seed.
Yeah, the 6-7, whether it's Green Bay or the Rams or the Vikings, or I don't think Seattle's totally dead. I know they're obviously in some trouble now, under 500, and they play Philly. But I think Detroit, if they're going to be a 3, I think Detroit is primed to get upset by somebody. And if that's the case, let's say they're the 3. Somebody, Green Bay, somebody, the Rams is a 6, goes into Detroit and wins.
One thing I don't want to see happen.
That team's coming out here if the Niners are
the one thing I don't want to see, I know the Niners beat Seattle 3 times last year, but to face the Rams in Week 18, the Rams somehow make the playoffs, upset the 2 or 3 seed, and then they come play the Niners for the 3rd time. We've seen how that worked a few years ago. I know the Niners are a much better team, but the Rams are a team that they kind of match up a little bit better than with the Niners than even Detroit does.
Hey, we're going to wrap this thing up, but San Fran 49er fan says, any word on Mooney Ward? Hargrave went down with an injury. Mooney Ward went down with an injury. Shanahan commented briefly. I don't know, JD, did you guys get any update on either of those guys as far as the severity of either injury?
Yeah, there wasn't really a follow-up. It was, Ward was really working hard, and it's a groin injury for Ward. He was working really hard to try and come back into the game, and then didn't. He's riding the bike. He was getting stretched out, that kind of thing. So I don't, it's more of, I think, a week-to-week, day-to-day kind of a thing, but still a groin for a defensive back is something that could become a major problem very quickly if you go out there and play on it too soon. I think the Niners were smart to keep him out today. And I know DK Metcalf is somebody that, the plan was going to be for him to follow him around and all of that. but I think they were smart to prevent him from himself because it looked like he was hell-bent on going in, and then it didn't happen. The other big one is Greenlaw was a little banged up but went back in. I thought Kittle got hit in the midsection early. He obviously played the rest of the game. Looked like I wouldn't be surprised if Kittle ends up showing up with like a rib or something on the Wednesday injury report. But Hargrave with the hamstring, guys, was the other one. And that's one that I think maybe could be a little more serious than even Ward's.
Wow,
which is a bummer because Armstead's obviously out right now with the plantar fasciitis, and they're getting a little thin. I will say this, though. I thought Javon Kinlaw played maybe his best game. He looked really, really good in this game. All right, let's finish with this. It's time for the New York Style Sausage Company Player of the Game. We'll go around the room and give us your Player of the Game before we bolt for the door. Kev, we'll start with you. Who gets your New York Style Italian Sausage Player of the Game?
I'm gonna take chalk on this one. I'll go Deebo Samuel. It's so easy. He just had. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns today. I don't know the exact numbers, but he also had a play where he got the ball and just juked a defender right down to the goal line. It was the play right
So
before he got
sick.
the jet sweep touchdown. But that was a nasty play, and he's just playing. He's scoring touchdowns. It seems like every drive. So I mean, I'll go Deebo there. It's pretty chalky, but I'll go Deebo.
No, it's a good one though. It's a good one, and there's a lot of choices today. Danny, who's your New York Style Italian Sausage Player of the Game?
Well, last week I took
This
Deebo.
is a man with smaller hands who just had who would choose a fillet.
Last
He
week
can
I
handle it.
chose.
He can handle a fillet.
I passed on Brock, and I left him for somebody else because it was so obvious. But I took Deebo. But this week I'm not going to pass on Brock because I've got him at 18-1 to be the MVP. And I've already said on record that I think he's better than Joe Montana at this point in each of their careers. Not that he's going to be Joe Montana's career. May not even come close to Joe's career. But I love watching this guy play, and each week he grows on me. The fact that he can put the ball on the money, 45-plus yards in the air, guys not even breaking stride, and then the national media still comes out and says, well, how do you give Brock all this credit when he throws a little 5-yard hitch and the runner and the receivers with the rack take it all the way to the house? No, he threw 3 balls today, over 40 yards of completions. I'm taking Brock Purdy.
Kev goes Deebo. Danny goes Brock. This is a man who just went to Panda. And now we go to Rye Smith, the OG. Rye, who's getting the game ball? Who's your New York Style Italian Sausage Player of the Game?
You know what? I'm weirdly compelled to just give it to Diamador Lenore. I love the fact that he got tossed out. I love the fact that he just doesn't give a shit. Like, he's not that big of a guy. I know he's like got a little bit bigger over this offseason, but like that dude just wants, as we would say, that guy stands on business. He wants all the smoke. He wants it all. I just love DK. Like, you see DK at the end of the game, you like see him walk up to Fred Warner, and that's when you're like, Jesus Christ, this man is a freak show. Like, he's 6'3", whatever, 240, whatever he is. Like, he looks bigger than Fred Warner. And I just love that Demo is just like a tough ass dude this year. He's laying licks on people. Also the fact that they were down, their top 2 corners pretty much. And he kind of took Metcalf out of the game after the beginning of the beginning, obviously, when they scored the touchdown. But him and Jair Brown, I don't know. I loved even though Locke had a good game, I love what I saw out of the Niners corners today.
JD, who gets your New York Style Italian Sausage Player of the Game?
Yeah, I'll go with McCaffrey. I think he deserves some love. He breaks off the 72-yard run right away, and I think set the tone that the 49ers were just going to be able to move the ball and make explosive plays against Seattle. And so, yeah, he ends up with 145 on the ground. So basically 72 on that first run. And then he ends up with 73 the rest of the way, but always involved in the pass game, just one catch for McCaffrey. But I thought the tone setting run, and anytime you end up averaging 9 a tote, you're having a big time day. Although, my God, you start looking at the you start looking at the Niner receiving core and the numbers that they put up today with Purdy slinging the pill around, and it's pretty impressive. But I'll give McCaffrey a nod. His run showed, I thought, Seattle that the Niners really weren't going to be able to be stopped from being explosive.
I'm going to go with the kid safety, Jair Brown. I talked to him in the locker room after the game, and I said, Jair, man, you're balling, man. You're playing well. He's playing well against the run. He's playing well against the pass. He had one interception. He almost had two. He makes plays against the run where he comes up and he hits like a truck. And as I asked him this question, I said, hey, man, I wasn't really a question. It was more like, man, you're badass. But I was kind of like, hey, have you talked to Talanoa? Because I know Talanoa's, kind of a big figure in his, comeuppance in the organization. Obviously, he replaced Talanoa. Talanoa is the veteran. And he leans back in his locker and he's like, he takes out these really cool Hawaiian shell necklace. And he's like, yeah, Talanoa gave this to me. And, he told me it's good luck and I should wear it and this and that. So I'm going to give it to Jair Brown, man. I love that kid. What a tremendous draft choice that kid was.
Good pick, Larry. Good pick.
Good pick. Good, excellent pick. You took my guy. No, but smoothie. Hey, smooth. No, but yeah, he's good against the run. He's good against the pass, and Jair Brown just gets better and better and better. And people just, have suggested that, maybe they're going to replace him and this and that. I don't think so. I think I asked Shanahan about him and I said, man, the guy makes plays all over the field. What did you see? And Shanahan said the same thing. He's like, I agree. Guy's making plays all over the place. He makes plays in the box. He makes plays down the field, plays against the pass, plays against the run. When you talk to him, it's like, he's got this like confidence, like he's not like surprised in the slightest that he's kicking butt and taking names. He's like, yeah, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. This is who I am. So I'll go Jair Brown as my New York style Italian sausage player of the game.
We got a fumble 6.
Yeah.
In the
Eagles
Cowboys game.
Yep.
By the way, why are they not running the ball? That's my one concern. If I was a Cowboys fan, it seems like they can't run the ball. Either that or they just don't want to. But even in the games where they're blowing teams out, like they don't run the ball.
Yeah. Hey, I want to address a couple guys in the chat, Butthead and Crypto King. You guys need to get your listening skills a little bit better. Butthead says, not yet, Dan. Montana's still the GOAT. Plus Montana ERA is better than this era. And then Crypto King said, shut up, dude. I watched Montana. Well, I know I only look 29 and I have never seen Joe play. If you listen to me, I said at this point in their careers, and I just got done saying Brock may never have the career that Joe had, and it's probably doubtful.
I think Montana won more rings, and that's why I'm going with him, Dan.
Well, I'm saying it at this stage.
I think Montana had more accomplishments than Brock.
Dan, you have too many caveats. There's too much fine print in that take. Like if you want it to pop off on socials, like you got to get it down a little bit.
You got to have the right.
Just go with the whole thing.
Too many characters.
Too many characters. You might want to use a couple parentheses.
Here's what it is.
You can be like Ralph and say parenthetically.
Brock greater than Joe, greater than Tom. That's it. That's all you need to say.
Yes.
That's it.
There you
what
go.
you need
really
to say
fine
is
print.
And what you need to say is Panda Express out. That'll be big.
Not going there. All I said is when I watched Joe, I was 20 years old. I saw all his games. He was unbelievable, but a lot of people forget he had a tendency to throw a few picks early. He wasn't.
Oh my God. Now we're gonna rip Joe Montana.
I'm not ripping Joe. I'm just saying this.
He had a tendency to throw a few picks. I mean, oh my God.
Actually, he threw 3 in the NFC Championship game against the
I know
Cowboys.
You were making a strong statement that really was a statement of fact, but people are only
I'm just saying
you can
this.
say the same thing about CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
like
I'm just saying
nuance.
this.
It's the nuance of Dan Coachimilio.
Watching Brock today, what he did when he created one of the throws by avoiding a sack, found room, and delivered a dime that was over 40 yards in the air. That reminded me of Montana today. It just, and I'm not saying again, he's Joe Montana. I was making a half joke because everybody says, well, he's not Joe Montana yet. I'm not comparing him to Joe Montana. So I just came out and said, I'm not comparing him to Joe. He's better than Joe at this point. At this point in his, if he goes 14-3,
Dan, I liked it.
And wins the Super Bowl, it's better than Joe's 81 season. That's all.
Exactly. There we go. Panda Dan. There we go. Woodpit 420 says Panda Dan says Purdy's better than Joe. All right, that's going to do it for us. Danny, when will you start? When will you commence with your Farhan rippage? When does that?
Oh yeah, this is going to.
Sure, you got more ripping coming, right?
A little bit more. I think there'll be more in the next few days when Yamamoto signs with the Yankees or the Dodgers, and Bellinger probably signs somewhere else. And
when do you go live again? I saw late last night you and Eric were live. Are you going live again later on tonight, Danny?
We might just do that. We might just take advantage of the momentum. I mean,
okay, there you go. Well, NorCal Sports Network, give Danny a follow. Rye Smith, of course, West Coast Bias. Rye, when do you go live again? How's things going on the channel this week? What do you got cooking?
Probably Monday night. Yeah, I'm probably Monday night. We're just going to go over all the games, maybe try and cash in on some of the look ahead lines, because I'm finding like now that everyone gambles, like there's so little value in the lines come like, late in the week that there's a lot of value in the look aheads. Like I snagged the Bills -1. I think that's going to move.
I think I'm going Dolphins Packers tomorrow. I think I might go 2-teamer on Dolphins Packers on the Monday night doubleheader. We get a Monday night doubleheader.
Who do you like defense tomorrow? Packers or the Dolphins for
what do you mean
fantasy?
Defense?
I got both teams for fantasy, so I'm trying to figure out which one to play.
It's I'd probably go against the New York Giants.
So I love this comment, Cosman, Cozy Codes. This is great. Dak will be Dak and Dan will be Dan.
There you go. I've always said that.
Dan will be Dan.
I may spray paint that on the side of Levi's on the way out.
There you go. There you go.
Just to leave just to leave my mark. Krug show out.
That could be a T-shirt.
Dak will be Dak. Dan will be Dan. I might even throw a Coach Emilio. There's a silent G in there, isn't there somewhere?
There's a silent G. Yes.
Yeah,
in the press guide,
if we could just get a silent Dan, we'd have a real awesome show. But we have a silent G.
When I was in the press box with Joe Starkey doing the Cal games, when my brother was
youngsters chopping it up,
playing at Cal, the media guy, they hyphenate. You guys know this because you see it all the time, how they hyphenate the spelling of certain guys' names.
Right.
Well, it was Coach, like COACH, and then EH, and then hyphen A or then meal, MEAL, like a meal, then
right.
hyphen E hyphen O, Coach Emilio. It's kind of weird to see it in the media guide that way.
But. Yeah. Sounds weird.
Yeah.
JD, on that high note, when do we get you? When do we hear you next on the leader? I know you're doing a bunch of different things over there, but when will you be appearing next?
Yeah, and next I'm doing a lot of Dubs coverage, and we've launched Dubs OT, which is available on KMBR immediately at the final horn after every Warriors game. It's also YouTube and Twitch as well. So it's a go live program that you can watch, you can listen to, you can interact with, you can call. Have a couple of those coming up this week, and going to be at 49er practice as well, and just kind of popping on different shows. A similar role to the role I used to have, but at a new place, and couldn't be happier. And I appreciate all the kind words from everybody, and you, Larry, as well, on the congratulations. And
I never offered kind words.
Still wanting me.
I've never offered kind words, damn it. If Matt Nahigian's listening, Matt, I swore at him. I cursed at him. I told him I tried to curse him. I tried to put the hex on him. It didn't necessarily work. I would never offer JD kind words. He's the freaking enemy. He's like our sworn enemy. It makes me sick to my stomach that he's even part of this extravaganza. I'm just joking. JD, we love you, brother. Good. We're very happy for your success, and we wish you nothing but the best. Kev,
I joined the Larry Krueger club now. The
that's
guy
right. That's right.
The dual threat. in
That's
Bay
right.
Area in Bay Area radio.
Yeah. Dubs OT, is that named for like Dubs? Should it be like Dubs lose an OT or just Dubs?
Oh, look at Danny.
Oh, Dan.
Look at Dan's
Lately.
always work doing
That last
material.
game. What,
JD,
what
who's
the
no longer on
hell?
the flagship, can now rip away. Probably. JD, have you sharpened your warrior teeth
How about
since
this
you've gone
nugget?
across the street?
How about this nugget? I'll give you a quick nugget. This was put out. I saw this from Elias.
Wait a second. You're giving us a nugget? I'm going to get a little closer. I want to hear this.
The Warriors have lost their last 3 road games by a combined 4 points. 4 points. It's incredible. Last time that happened to any NBA team was 2006, 2007, where you lose by 1, you lose by 1, you lose by 2. And it's the first time in Warriors franchise history that they've lost 3 road games by that. 3 road games, Sacramento, the Clippers, and the game in OKC. They lose by 1, lose by 1, lose by 2. 4 total points in 3 games.
Since Danny started this show with a very unpopular taking on a Bay Area icon, I will finish this show with an equally unpopular take, also taking on a Bay Area icon. Steph Curry is the reason the Warriors lost to OKC the other night. He had the ball with 7-7 left on the clock in the final sequence. He had Lou Dort. They inbounded to him at the top of the circle. It was a 118 game. He had any opportunity he wanted to do anything he wanted. He could have driven all the way in. He could have gone for the 2. Instead, he pounds the dribble for 3 or 4 seconds and takes a challenged deep prayer 3 like they were at home and they were the clear better team, except they weren't the clear better team. They were a team with the worst record, and they were on the road, and they went to overtime and got beat.
I blame Draymond for that game.
But I mean, that was Steph. He had the game in his hands right there.
And
all he had
just
to do
hit the 3 to put him ahead to basically win it.
He had just hit the 3, and it was like, I don't know if he was fatigued or what, but that was not what I've seen teams get better looks when they have 2.5 on the clock.
He couldn't drive on Dort.
They had 7.7 on the clock, but he wasted 4 of the seconds just sitting there, kind of not deciding trying to decide what he wanted to do.
You know,
he's been fatigued at the end of these last games. Like,
that's it. I think that's it, right?
He's driven into some layups in other games when he's tried to drive or can't totally. He couldn't totally get by in the Clippers game, which is why he kicked it to Draymond, which I think was a bigger mistake.
They let 2 games with Chet Holmgren beat him, and they did the wrong thing both times. The first one, they should have fouled him. This time, they should have let him shoot because he was way out. And if Draymond had actually not went for the steal and just played the man, he could have fouled him on the catch. Instead, he tries to foul him real quick as he's going up. They had both games against OKC, and they lost them both.
They had like 28 turnovers also.
29, I think.
Kev, when are we going to see you next? We'll see you Wednesday night. But Kev, what do you got cooking? I know you're not down at Cal Poly, so your partying will now be north instead of central in California.
I'm cooking up whatever's coming out on the Krueg show next, and I'm cooking up some schoolwork right now. So,
all right. Maybe thinking of a haircut for the holidays, or no?
Yes, I'm getting a haircut soon.
Okay. Just want to make sure bed's made.
One step
good.
at a time. One step at a time.
Not too big. We don't want too much in one day. You know, you don't got a lot going on when someone asks you about your day and you start with, "Well, I got up," you know, and then you know.
Yeah, are you like Josh Giddey? Does your mom cook and make your bed for you?
No.
Didn't quite. That one didn't quite land.
Let's not compare our guy Giddey to. Let's not compare Kev to Giddey.
Right I was like, wait, where's this going?
That's not
right.
Let's just come on,
Danny.
You're gonna get this whole thing shut down, Danny.
Danny, the show hasn't ended, but it's ended for Danny. Okay, it's ended for Danny. He's there in face, but Dan, talk right now. Yeah, see, he's muted. He's muted, and it was because of that last comment. All right, that's going to do it for us. 49ers get a nice win. Check out JD on the leader. Check out Rye's channel. Check out Danny's channel. They do great work. Kev will be keeping the Krueg show going with all of his incredible stuff, and that does it for us. Tune in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Me and Damon will go live on 49er Wake Up on both of our channels at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Also tomorrow, Grant Cohn and I will stream on his channel, I believe at some point, or on both channels at some point in the afternoon. We got a full week ahead of Niner coverage and all kinds of Bay Area coverage. I'll be standing by ready to do live streams if the Giants do anything, which means I will not be talking Giants this week. And then if the Warriors do something fun, or maybe we'll jump in on do a Warrior post game this week as well. We'll see how we're feeling. Not sure if we'll have enough time on that one, if you get the reference. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to all of you. Have a great night, and peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful.